out of your way.
Exactly.
You didn't tell me everyone would leave.
Oops.
Mega Bucket! You used me for land development. That wasn't nice.
Haven't you figured it out, SpongeBob? Nice guys finish last. Only aggressive people conquer the world.
Sidewalk with no shoes, wiggling my toes like what you gonna do? No joke, man, my toes make money.
Spider-Man's real. Spider-Man's real name. Spider-Man's name is Charlie Kark!
Coming for ya. We know what you're doing. Sorry. I just get fired up when I think of what they're doing to us and how I want to resist them. And how easy they are to defeat. Excuse me. I think my testosterone's going up. This, happens every time I start working out a lot again. And I, swam 2 miles this morning pretty hard and, ate a big fat steak last night. Full of hormones, testosterone on its own, right? So I'm going a little bit wild today, excuse me.
Wow, it's such a beautiful night tonight. The way the moon is reflecting off the water makes your eyes look so majestic. There's nowhere else in the universe that I would rather be than right here with you, right... Hey, do you see that over there? That light, yeah, the one that's getting closer. A lot closer, a lot faster. It's coming really fast, actually. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that kind of looks like a spaceship. Get behind me. I'll make sure nothing bad happens to you. It looks like the door is opening. Maybe they're friendly, eh? Oh no. Oh no, it's the Covenant!
You need some. Who else?
Get down, he's got a plasma rifle! Don't worry, baby. This is why everywhere I go I carry my UNSC-issued M6 Series Magnum sidearm on me. Take this, you son of a bitch! Ah! Die, you bastard! Die! Thank God it's over. If there was a grunt with plasma grenades stuck to it and running at me, I don't know what I would do. Oh, no, 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 no!
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. It is the first day of the week for all of us wage slaves. I say us in the colloquial sense, not that I actually have a real job. I spend most of today out on the range shooting, rushing back to get here for you guys, and you complain that I'm late because I'm out here, I'm shooting, I'm testing stuff, and you guys are like, get to the stream, okay? I can't wait 3 minutes, I can't wait 4 minutes. Unbelievable, dude. You guys are cracking the whip on me. I mean, you guys are like kind of the only boss that I have when you think about it. So if somebody's going to complain about me being tardy, it might as well be you guys. But we have lots of fun stuff to talk about tonight. We, of course, have the war is over, but at the same time, we're deploying up to 10,000 ground troops. I think we have close to 50,000 in the region as of right now, total. We have oil prices shooting up. We've got gun tubers panicking. It's time to panic. It's so over. Buy now and use my affiliate code while you're doing it, please. Something like that. We got a Glock showing off a mag that should have been out 10 years ago. And for some reason, Glocktards are excited about it. You know, and I say this as somebody who shoots a Glock quite a bit. I carry a Glock 17 every day. I shot my Glock today, of course. We have a endorsement of Palmetto State Armory that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. We have CAG LARPerators being the most dangerous force in America currently. That should be fun. And we have Marines stealing things and a bunch of rage bait and based bait, I guess, fed bait, whatever you want to call it. It's all here, okay? But before we get to it, Jake, Richard, how's everybody's night going tonight?
Unemployed shooting on a Monday? What?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm technically employed. I'm self-employed.
Hey,
I mean,
I was doing it too.
I would say that's kind of a reach, but it's okay. That's good though.
Halo
Monday,
Reach? Halo Reach mentioned?
Halo
Let's
Reach
go!
mentioned. Yeah. But I'm doing great. I'm intermittently eating dinner, so I'll be muted for a second, but I'm here.
Good. Heck yeah. What are we having for dinner right now? Taquitos? The white man's dream?
Making some taquitos in the oven currently. However,
I hope this isn't.
Don't have salsa, so I'm kind of.
That's tragic. I hope this isn't inappropriate, but that is very much. It's like taquitos and beer. It's divorced dad core, and I hope that's not inappropriate,
right.
But it is like that's
you're
the
totally
vibe.
Right, John. Yeah,
that's the vibe.
Yeah, it's ironic.
Well, it's not ironic. It's just, the patterns, okay? The stereotype, it's there, okay? Stereotypes are earned, Jake, and you're earning it tonight.
Another pattern noticed.
Yeah, many such cases. I mean, honestly, Halo Reach is divorced dadcore, let's be real. I'm just lucky that I only have half of that statement so far. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Iran first, if you will. This is from our good friend Tom Foe. With the memes, governments don't even bother to explain why we should start a war anymore. They just look at you like this. And yes, this is from RT today, and this has been speculated and theorized for weeks, but U.S. set for ground invasion to open the Strait of Hormuz with Israeli intelligence support. Now, of course, the strait is still closed for the most part, except if you pay the IRGC $2 million in Chinese currency, which is bad for the U.S. economy in multiple ways. One, were by our closure of the strait, essentially. It was our actions that got it closed. Not only are we ironically funding the IRGC, but we're also devaluing our own dollar and not necessarily strengthening its position as the reserve currency of the world, since we're giving a lot of that over to China right now. So China, big beneficiary of all this going on. And Russia as well with the enhanced oil prices. I think enhanced oil prices is a nice kosher way to say it. And then on top of that, of course, breaking Israeli media reports that if the United States carries out a ground operation in Iran, it would have to go alone, with Israeli forces not participating on the ground. Now, as far as I'm aware, there were never any Israeli forces officially deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or any of these places that we invaded. Some would say for them. So, I mean, the fact that they're not going to supply any of their own blood to fight in Iran while we do their dirty work seems to also fit patterns. And if we're talking about noticing patterns, that just seems to be par for the course. Now, again, 50,000 troops in the region. I believe that is total from all the bases and personnel already there. We're about 10,000 more than we would usually be. We have the 82nd. We have the Marine Expeditionary Unit. We got a lot of extra forces in the region with a possibility of 10,000 more being deployed at any point in time for some sort of operation. Now, if you guys have been keeping up with the timeline, I want to say that the official end of the peace, quote unquote, between the U.S. and Iran ends on the 6th. I think that is the end of the 10-day or the 10-day extension to the 5-day ceasefire. So that would be next Monday, 1 week from today, is when the actual 10-day peace period ends. So if no deal is raised in the next week, or possibly before that again. Friday nights are usually the time that President Trump tends to strike. We could see some sort of ground invasion as we amass more and more troops, personnel, and equipment in the region. And talks of course, a draft being implemented. What's his face? Rob Schneider on Twitter was like, you know what? I'm an old man who's partially Jewish, but we should institute a draft for the American citizens. All American citizens should have mandatory service. And rightfully got ratioed on that because very problematic stance. How do you guys feel about mandatory service for Americans?
My question is, if I told them that I was anti-Semitic, would they be more likely or less likely to take me?
Well, that's a good question. It's funny because there are certain things that are disqualifying for your position in a draft. And one of them is like Nazi iconography, like tattoos and such. So the joke is like, you even if you don't identify, okay, with the Socialist Party from the big W2, you know, if you want to get out of the draft, I mean, take one for the team, so to speak, and that's your ticket out of there.
I'm going to get a giant picture of a pregnant Hitler on the side of my neck.
that would probably also do it. Yeah. Maybe I don't even know what that means. Too experimental. It's too philosophical for me to even delve into. A pregnant Hitler, like giving birth to the new nation. Like, man, there's a lot of levels to that joke. There's a lot. Speaking of jokes, Ray Polocost, member for 9 months, also, just like a pregnant Hitler, he's just given birth. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And again, this is just everybody's basically reporting the same thing, whether it's true or not, who knows? But it is probably true, and it's probably going to be, you know, I don't know. It'll be like, oh, we'll be in the Strait for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades, however long it takes, okay, to get the job done, to make sure that Americans can have free trade through the Strait, even though we had that right before we started the war. But never mind that, gentlemen, okay? We must send more blood and treasure into the Middle East to secure it, to secure free passage through the Strait, again, which we already had before the war. But the U.S. is preparing for a potential ground invasion into Iran that would last for up to 2 months, per the Washington Post. Now, I don't know about you guys. I was told 4 days. It was a 4-day operation on the very first day of the war. And then it was 4 or 5 weeks. We're in the 5th week right now. And now it's, well, a ground invasion, but a short ground invasion.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, well, actually regime change, and then we got to set up a new democracy and like hold it. So it's looking like anywhere from 2 months to 2 decades. That'd be my guess.
It's 14 days to slow the nuclear proliferation in Iran.
Yes, that's right. 4 days to stop the spread. So far, if you're also, there's a very interesting tracker on Twitter that is just following the amount of dollars spent so far. So in the 30 days that we've been fighting, it's, I think, right at about $35 billion that we've spent on the war. Keep in mind that for American citizens, the border wall was estimated at about $17 billion. So we get, you know, reduced oil supply, increased oil prices, reduced fertilizer supply, and a bunch of other chemicals coming out of the Gulf. And we spend $35 billion and we don't get a border wall. It's like, that's really the problem. If we were so economically viable and powerful that there were no issues at home with demographics or illegal immigration or, you know, needing mass deportations, needing mass reimmigration, then I feel like people would be a little bit more okay with spending some political capital in the Middle East. But since we've backed down on mass deportations, there is no reimmigration, there is no border wall. Since we're not getting any of the things domestically, we're also a lot less tolerant of any excursions in the Middle East, right? Because we have our own problems at home, our own economical problems at home. The job market sucks. Young people can't have children. They can't buy houses. We can't replace our own population. There's lots of problems domestically. And so nobody's interested in a war in the Middle East unless you're Lindsey Graham or a neocon rhino, essentially, which was what originally Trump was supposed to be opposed to. But now he's just, seems like he's going along with it. No matter who's in charge, it seems like we get war in the Middle East. All right. That seems to be the status quo for American politics. For some reason, it's almost like there's somebody donating to both sides, somebody pushing both sides to just constant war and regime change and meddling in the Middle East. It's wild. Yeah, I'm Palin tired, boss. Palin tired. Now that is a good idea. Carver says send the aliens to the sandbox. I think we should re-immigrate them to Iran. Honestly, I think that's a better weapon than any missile, all right, any bomb, any Moab. We just give them 100 million Mexicans in South America.
They outlawed chemical weapons, sir.
I don't care, okay? You're getting 100 million Mexicans and South Americans, all right? All right, Iran, I'm sure you can support them. It probably would be a lot more effective, honestly, destabilizing the region. I mean, it worked here. Now, if you look at oil prices today, over the weekend, before the weekend, it was sitting strong at about $90, which is not terrible. And now it has jumped up to 106. And I read something, a headline from earlier today. It's like, hey, experts warned that oil could hit $200 a barrel, which would be, you guys like double oil prices? You guys like double the gas at your local station? Doesn't sound like that's a good deal for most Americans that are already struggling to pay rent, struggling to put food on the table, struggling with everything, you know? And then, hey, how about we double oil prices? Great idea. What did you say, Richard?
I said not a good deal.
No, not for the American. Not for the American.
You see, John, if it wasn't for Iran putting us in this bad situation, you know, forcing our hand to attack them because they're so mean to us, we wouldn't be dealing with this. But, you know, now we just got to make the best out of the situation we found ourselves in.
Yeah, that's right. Now that we're in, we got to finish the fight.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we didn't want to be here, but we might as well. Now that we're here, right?
I can't for the life of me understand why that nasty Ayatollah just started launching missiles like that.
Yeah.
Listen, we only killed him, his granddaughter, and then the current Ayatollah. We killed his wife and mother and two of his sons. I don't know why they're putting up such a fight. I don't know why they're upset. I mean, I think they're unreasonable people.
That's what he gets for burning the statue of Baal.
That's true. Yeah, triple the national debt. Triple it. Pass it off to the next generation. Literally. That was the boomers. I actually want to know. It's more than tripled since the boomers have been, you know, in the majority of power positions. It's got to be like 5x the national debt. You know, since like the 90s, boomers have been in charge like since the 90s. Maybe even before that, honestly. Maybe the 80s, late 70s. It's got to be like 5x, 6x, 7x, something like that. Yeah. 6x the debt and give it to the next generation. Screw those kids or something like that. Also, make it to where they can't buy houses or have jobs. Make them compete with third world immigrants for entry-level positions. Genius move. Appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, right? And if the worst happens, which I kind of think that it will. I do think that there will be some sort of ground force in Iran, and I think that we will be in there for a prolonged period of time. I mean, it's not even like a genius political guess. It's like, hey, look what we did the last 5 times. It's like, that'll probably happen again. You know, when was the last time we were in and out of a place in like less than a year? Has that ever happened?
Technically,
Venezuela.
Yeah.
Well, no, but we didn't like go in there to hold anything or take anything. We grabbed one person and left.
I'd say we took something. I mean, we took one thing.
Well, no, I know, but we weren't there to hold like physical land. Like it was not an invasion force.
Yeah, no. Right? I don't think we've really done anything like that in under a year. Maybe some older conflicts.
If you
Panama, Grenada or something, I don't know.
Yeah, back in the like late 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
80s even.
But
yeah, so it's been like 30 years. Recent history in the Middle East does not seem to indicate that we could be in and out, you know. But because of that, this all kind of leads into GunTube, which is another thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. All of the standard panic merchants are out there. They're saying doom and gloom. And there's an element that I agree with. There is certainly some doom and gloom to be had. If oil prices hit $200 a barrel, then yeah, you're going to see everything explode in price. Everything, because everything relies on transportation. And transportation relies on oil. So when oil prices double, it's not just going to hit you at the pump, it's going to hit you everywhere. And part of that, when it comes to GunTube, which loves panic, and honestly, the industry loves panic. The industry makes money off of panic. The gun industry actually desperately needs there to be some sort of existential crisis or conflict, and invasion in the Middle East, rising gas prices, tensions at home during the midterms. This is the perfect coagulation cacophony of fear porn tactics to just give a shot of adrenaline into the gun industry, right? This is exactly what they want. This is exactly what they need. And I guarantee you, most of the guys that are sitting on a lot of stock of inventory where sales have been down over the last 2-3 years, they are praying for a ground invasion. They are praying for political unrest because people will be buying up guns and ammo. People will be panic buying almost immediately. And they are waiting on that because they got drunk, they got fat, they got lazy through late 2019, 2022, early 2023. They got fat and lazy off of insane demand. And then as soon as that collapsed, they were like, oh, shoot, what do we do? I guess we die now. And you see how many companies get sold off, go under, bankruptcy, yada, yada, yada. And they are just fingers crossed, all right? We support Americans, we love Americans, but war in Iran and political tensions in the continental U.S. would be great for business. So please, and thank you. And then we have the usual suspects going out and about and doing the whole panic buy now. Ammo is gone. Guns are gone. You're going to literally die in the streets tomorrow if you don't go out there and use my affiliate link to buy as much as possible. Go, go, go. This is from Spike. Mainstream gun tubers are a cancer. They should be kept isolated from the rest of society on an island where they scam and scare each other all day. And then, of course, you just have all of our favorites are up here. You got Such, upcoming ammo shortage, possibly the worst ever. Dun, dun, dun. Now, I checked today. PMC Bronze is still available from like a half dozen locations at under 45 cents a round for 5.56 and 2.23, 9mm. While there are certainly some places that are more out of stock than usual because there is increased demand, there just is. 9mm still sitting at 25 cents or less per round. 5.56 is sitting at 45 cents or less per round. And everything else is nominally unchanged for the most part. You might notice a little bit more out of stock. You might notice higher demand. And I do forecast prices to rise, but there's no reason to go out and panic buy. If you're already stretched on food and gas and you're like, oh, I'm going to spend my last dollar on 2 cases of ammo before it explodes tomorrow, well, you might want to save some of that money for gas and food going forward if oil prices actually double. So I am not one to recommend panic buying. If you absolutely need something, now is like the best time to pick up something that you need is now before there is potential, increase in prices, potential limited availability. It is a good time to buy now. And I do forecast that prices are going to rise, but panicking is not the right thing to do. And especially if you're already tight on funds, there are possibly more important things that you're going to need down the range. So, and again, keep in mind that these guys, I honestly hate it when gun tubers put out videos, ammo shortage, time to panic, all of this nonsense, because it's like manufactured almost. It creates this sense of urgency, and it's completely manufactured. And also keep in mind that a lot of these guys, not all of them on the picture, but they get paid by some of these companies that have literal ammo sponsors in the videos where they're talking about how you need to max out all your credit cards to buy now, and they're like, yeah, don't remember, guys, it's about to get really bad. So use my link. Not only is it manufactured, but it's almost like scamming in a way. It's kind of like fear porn, okay? You're artificial demand in a lot of ways.
Ammo sales financed on Cordova.
Well, there is a lot of that. This is very true. I mean, I bought some ammo today. I buy ammo every month. 5,000 or 6,000 rounds just to maintain the stock that I currently have on hand, because that's how much I shoot, about 1,000 rounds a week. And yeah, it's like you can use 5 easy payments of, you know, $199 or something like that to finance your ammo. Probably not a great idea. Probably not a great idea. Not fiscally responsible to go out there and blow all of your money. Again, if you're a little low right now and you need to pick up some things, that's fine. Okay. But no, you do not need to go out and panic buy and max out all your credit cards, because the end is coming, and, you know, credit cards won't matter because we won't have to pay them back because the apocalypse is right around the corner. I don't think that that is setting you up for success in the long term. All right. And that's what we want.
I do absolutely love that Trench Grenade just puts it straight in the title. Time to panic, guys. It's in the thumbnail. That
Yeah,
is just
time to
hilarious
panic.
me.
Ammo just hit a breaking point. It's like, no, it literally hasn't. Now, I watched Mr. Guns and Gears video on it, and his is the most responsible, I would say. So, for instance, in the video, he says, hey, it's out of stock at a lot of distributors, which I've noticed as well. But that's just what happens when the industry's been slow. So supply is a little low, right? Because demand has been so low. They kind of try and meet in the middle somewhere, usually. So there is a lot of American manufactured ammo that is in low supply, in low stock. It's still at all of the big box stores. You can still find it online. Again, I checked literally before the stream. Prices are still relatively good for post-COVID era. You know, under 25 cents a round for 9, under 45 cents a round for 5.56. It's all good, okay? And remember that we still have imports from Europe, from South America, places like that, where we're getting a lot of ammo from that is relatively quality. You know, it's decent training ammo and whatnot. But American supply is going to be a little bit limited because we're spending a lot of that machining time, capital time on manufacturing our own stockpiles, building up our own stockpiles, and unfortunately sending a lot of those munitions overseas, right? So the US military has increased its demand from their ammo suppliers, which is going to put a short on everybody else because they are going to be the top dog. They are going to get supply first. So we are probably going to rely on a lot of imports. You know, before COVID, I never shot imported ammo, like ever. Like Igman, what the heck is Igman? You know, post-COVID, though, is like, oh, you can get 5.56 for 60 cents a round. It's from Turkey, or it's from, you know, name your Eastern European country or something like that. It technically works. Some of it blew up. There were a few guns that got blown up with Igman and stuff like that. But people were still able to make do. Listen, if you're worried, like if you don't have enough ammo to stock up, I don't know, 10 mags or something like that, then you probably want to get a little bit more. But here's the thing, too. I don't know why people stockpile ammo. Like, I'm actually not sure. Do some people think that it's going to be some form of currency?
Yes.
Because, right, but in the currency situation, this is like, no, it is literally the apocalypse. The dollar has crashed, and now I am using ammunition as this barter economy currency, which is so fanciful and far-fetched as it might as well be retarded. To think that you're going to be trading ammunition with your neighbors for, so I mean, maybe in some hypothetical, but this like never happened, even in like the third world, even in
John,
Eastern European countries that fell apart.
John, have you ever read the Metro books though?
Well,
It's
right, that's what
literally-
they're
that's
forecasting, like
literally real life.
post nuclear holocaust. I mean, I've read like the fanciful where, you know, the U.S. Economy crashes and the government just dissolves and there's no local or state or anything out there, and it's just you and, you know, your gun and your rifle, and it's just on you to survive. It's like, listen, in that scenario, like, never happened before, probably never going to happen. That's usually not how societies fall apart throughout basically all of human history. You know, you could say nuclear weapons do throw a different, you know, wrench in the mix, but we're not on the brink of a nuclear holocaust unless Israel deploys the Samson option, right?
I feel like if you wanted to actually, in the event of like bartering, the thing that I would think would be valuable for trading would be like alcohol, like vodka or whiskey.
Yeah, but I don't think that like we're going to be reduced to a barter economy tomorrow.
No,
and if that's what you're
probably
planning on, it's like food, water, shelter, power and medicine and that stuff is infinitely more important than like ammo, unless you're planning on just killing all of your neighbors or getting into some
people.
gang warfare.
I think people is a very lucrative career path in that kind of economy. So
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I trade ammo to my neighbor for like odd jobs. Like he mowed my yard for a summer for a case of 5.56. Like I use it.
Yeah, but that's Florida man activities, you know. So Florida man, real world stuff. I don't know if that aligns 1-to-1. But listen, here's my point. Okay, if you're stockpiling ammo, but you don't train at all, like who cares? I don't care if you have 1,000 rounds or 100,000 rounds. You know, you could practice 99.9% of things in dry fire. Like you don't need like whether you have a few hundred rounds or a few thousand rounds or 100,000 rounds, like you can train for free. Literally for free. If you already have the stuff, it is quite literally free. So again, I think that because like if you have 100,000 rounds and you're like, no, it's got to last me the rest of my life. I'm going to be in firefights every week. Think about it, John. That's 3,000 combat loadouts. And do you think you're going to survive?
Yeah,
who are we killing in these 3,000 firefights?
John,
what is
you
going
don't
on?
Understand? Once the shit hits the fan, everybody's a combatant, bro. And then you're just going to be out there running ops. You're going to be doing recce, and you're going to have to take down 20 to 30 individuals daily, man, at night.
Daily, yeah. Listen, I live in South Dakota. I don't even have enough people, right, to make that happen. It's like we're gonna run out. The demand for killing people does not meet the supply, right? Because there's just not enough people out here. It's crazy.
You just don't get it. You just don't get it, John. It's okay. Maybe one day you'll be tag.
Yeah, no. So, but Derek Data says, what about stockpiling for months-long ammo droughts like COVID so you can keep training? Yeah, no, I agree with that. But in like, let's take the worst case scenario where 9mm is going for $1 per round. You know what happens? I go from 1,000 rounds a week to 200 rounds a week. And my training is much more prodigious. It's much more dry fire, even though I dry fire 30 minutes every day. And my live fire just gets reduced, you know? But I'm already at an M or GM level. So for me, training is more maintenance right now, even though I'm currently trying to improve. But if I had to reduce ammo capacity, I would just be at a maintenance level. But if ammo is cheap right now and you're not training right now, congratulations. When ammo gets even more expensive, it's not doing you any favors, you know?
John, I do have to ask you, did you just steal Valor?
What do you mean?
Did you just say you're at a GM level?
Well, I mean, I am at a GM level, yes.
Are you a GM?
Correct. I am not a GM. No, I don't have that, but I do shoot at a GM level. Yes.
Okay.
Like I literally have like a 94% and I have like several classifiers over 100%. So yes, I do shoot at a GM level.
Until you hit GM, and then you can just regress and not be good anymore, but you'll still be a GM. Until you hit GM, you just, you can't say it, bro. You can't say it.
I can't. I mean, listen, if you're too cowardly to say that you don't shoot at a GM level, that's fine.
Oh, I don't.
But I shoot at an M and GM level. It's true.
I'm just making a funny joke, John. It's okay.
Anyways, yeah, so these are the guys. Sensible Prepper, which is funny. Worse Than Ever, God, Family, and Guns. Also, I do notice that these panic videos get a lot of views for these guys. So then I know channels that like had no traction, no success, and then they did like an ammo shortage video and they got like 100,000 views. And then they're like, oh shoot, I'm going to report on ammo shortages. That's my new style of content, is ammo shortages. Here we go. Ammo shortages all day, every day, so on and so forth. And they just, they try and prop this up. Again, even in the worst case scenario, if you haven't stockpiled skills, if you haven't built up that skill, having an extra 10,000 rounds isn't really going to help you all that much. So there's no reason to panic buy, no reason to worry.
I remember this back in the day with, I think it was a Nut and Fancy video I watched. And I was a kid, but it freaked me out. But it was when Obama was trying to ban green tip, essentially. And Nut and Fancy made this whole video about it. He was like, this is going to be the end, guys. This is an without rule of law situation waiting to happen, guys. You got to stock up on that green tip. And it freaked me out. I don't know if it was as prevalent back then. Earlier
That's just a
on in the
psyop
history
because
of
Green Tip sucks
gun
his ammo, and
space.
they were trying to get rid of backstock on Lake City M855. That's my
Yeah,
conspiracy theory.
That does make sense, actually.
But you know what's funny is if I were in power and I knew that there was going to be an ammo shortage, I could, at the flip of a switch, allow for the importation of Russian and Chinese ammo and end the ammo shortage overnight.
And then that would create an incentive for them to ship the ammo overseas instead of shoot it at each other or Ukrainians or.
Well, it would just
Taiwan.
alleviate supply issues in the U.S., right? Because, I mean, listen, like South America is still pumping out ammo. Europe is still pumping out ammo. Yeah, Americans have, reduced supply capacity right now because it's going overseas. It's going into our own munition stockpile. But everybody else is still making ammo. You just have to make the inroads. And again, it'll take a couple months if there is some sort of shortage, and it will take a couple months for the market to realign. So for a month or two, you might be spending, double or triple. Hopefully not triple, but at least double premiums over what you were spending. That's just the way it goes. And there's no reason to panic buy. And because if you buy into this, you're just going to make it worse.
The panic buying will cause the price to go up, and then you'll end up with a bunch of guys doing sketchy reloads in their garage and selling bag ammo online.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was funny back in the day when COVID first happened. I was meeting people and buying like cases of Silver Bear. Back when you could actually get Silver Bear ammo and they still had some, I was buying cases of Silver Bear from a guy in a parking lot. That's just, there was an underground ammo economy. Now, maybe you're panic buying as an investor. So you're like, John, I'm getting in on the floor. Okay. So I'm buying, I saw somebody was selling a pallet. It was 28,000 rounds of ammo, something like that. 58,000 rounds of ammo for like 41 cents a round. You buy that. And then once the ammo shortage happens, then you're selling at 60, 70 cents a round. That's a better investment than cryptocurrency right now. So maybe you're an investor in all of this. You're trying to make a little bit of profit off of all of this. You're profiteering off the coming ammo shortage. So actually, that's a good idea. I take it back. I'm going to go right after the stream. I'm going to buy 100,000 rounds of ammo. And then tomorrow, I'm going to release a video on how it's time to panic. Okay? This is like dumping crypto. This is like, crap coins. Okay? This is a great idea. I'm going to pump the market 70, 80, 90 cents a round. And then I'm going to sell it. Double profit? This is good. This is good. Yes, actually, I take it back. Tomorrow, panic buy, okay? After I get my orders in, tomorrow, panic buy. Everybody together, panic buy. I'll make a lot of money off of this.
And it's a pump and dump, John.
Yeah, pump and dump like somebody having intercourse with a YouTuber that we know. That's crazy.
It's so easy and simple. You would think it's illegal.
It's only legal if you're not in Congress, okay? I'll have you know they're very good at this.
Congressman John Focus Trip over here.
So somebody check his stock portfolio. I'm not in stocks. I'm in ammo trading. I sell ammo futures, okay? Here we go. What about this? How exciting is this? Gentlemen, I regret to inform you, or I'm happy to inform you, I'm not really sure which one right now, that Glock has come out with a revolutionary steel magazine for their 43, 43X, 48. That takes, makes it from a single stack to a double stack.
It's honestly amazing. This is a great idea, and I'm surprised nobody thought of this sooner.
Yeah, right. It's crazy that Glock just came up with this out of nowhere. Decided, wow, we could take these, these 43 and 43Xs, we can make them like have almost double capacity. That's crazy. That's wild. I wonder if anybody else has thought of that before.
I don't think so. My question is, do these cost more or less than the shield mags?
Well, what's a standard Glock mag go for? Like MSRP $29.99 or something.
Something like that.
24 to 34 bucks.
Mechgars are dirt cheap though. Like Mechgars retail for like $22. They're very inexpensive for their Glock mags. So listen, if this thing costs 40, 50 bucks, they're just trying to do the SIG move and make money off the magazines and not necessarily the gun. So, I mean, I really hope it's $30, $25. I hope it's standard cost because metal mags are not particularly expensive to produce. You know, most high quality major manufacturer mags you can find between 20 and $25 for the metal mags or OEM metal mags. $29.99 big toe dollars. Very possible. Very, very possible. But yeah, how exciting that they leaked their new 15 round magazines for, you know, again, that Shield Arms has been making for like, what, a decade now? Not quite a decade, but a long time. Okay. Since pre-COVID, they had Shield Arms magazines out that increased capacity. You know, it's a crazy idea when you just make the magazine body half the size because Glock mags are so fat compared to everything else on the market.
Also, having just
probably
side note, having a 43X or 43 or 48 or whatever, I think it's just kind of a self-report that you have tiny little hands.
I mean, I've never carried a gun that small. Never. The smallest gun I've ever carried was the Glock 26. And that still has like a fat grip and 26 with the extension. So it's a 12 round extended magazine grip and it's fat, you know, it's not a skinny gun. I've carried Glock 19 1.5 size guns, 365 XL, but yeah, they don't shoot great.
Did you carry the CSX for a little while?
I owned it for a little while, but I don't think I ever carried it, but I did own that. I forgot about that gun. I forgot that gun existed. They came out with a Gen 2 of it.
Hyped. I was so hyped for that thing when it came out, and then it was just dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of issues. It was not an exciting gun at all. And yeah, so here we go. Also, not very exciting. Yay, thank you, Glock. Now, these were like leaked images, which is always funny to me when it's like, oh, leaked new product from Glock, and it's a magazine that's been out for 5 years. It's like, whoa, really innovative there, Gaston. Gaston from the grave throwing this one out. I mean, although if Glock just starts offering factory metal magazines for all of their guns, I think that would actually be an improvement as long as Mechgar can actually get their crap together because they have been having some issues.
Are they going to ship these with their new slimline models? Like, are these going to be the standard mags?
Man, I would hope so.
Going to keep the polymer mags.
I would hope they would just get rid of the polymer mags. These should be standard for those guns.
I mean, you would think then that means they're going to have to, they're probably going to change the mag catch slightly.
Well, only on the non-cucked versions because they're still going to send them to reduced capacity states, right? Ones that haven't added to the roster.
But I guess I don't know. Do you need the change that like the metal magazine release with the?
You don't need to with certain guns. You have to. Now I haven't got them yet. I bought from the Ben Steger Pro Shop. I bought a bunch of the Mechgar Glock mags because I'm shooting my Glock a lot more because it's in the special ed configuration. So I bought some of the Mechgar magazines just to kind of see, you know, what the hype is about. They are kind of cool because again, Glock mags are so fat that for competition purposes, you actually get an extra round in Mechgar metal Glock mags than you do in a standard Glock mag. So you go from 24 to 25 with a 140 mil extension. So it's like, that's kind of neat for competition nerd bros, but for everybody else, like literally who cares? What do you got there, Jake? What are you drinking?
It's Paulaner Hefeweizen, some beer. I got me some beers. I went out, I heard the news about what's going on in the world, and I panicked. I went out and panic bought some beers.
Bought beer. That's right.
Everybody panic.
That beer.
Go to your liquor store now, buy beer.
Yeah, so somebody said my Canik mags are Mechgar. So Canik actually switched over to their own internal production of magazines. So I have some of my Canik mags are Mechgar, and some of them are Canik, and then almost all of my CZ mags are Mechgar. So I mean, Mechgar can make a good magazine. They usually make a good magazine. For some reason, the Glock mags have had issues.
I know that Gearson has almost all of their mags made by Mechgar. The few other companies that EAA worked with, almost all of them used Mechgar.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know what? Glock doing Glock things, and by doing Glock things, I mean almost nothing, like barely anything. However, there is one company that's really making inroads in special communities, okay? And this is a level of endorsement that I hope I can achieve someday. So really, this is the quintessential Palmetto State Armory buyer. And just listen to this glowing recommendation.
The inroads was a double.
Yeah, the inroads. The inroads with certain communities. I saw this. I think somebody sent it to me, and I was like, bro, this is so good. This is just quintessential gun tube slop. This guy could be the next big gun tuber. This is Colin Noir 2.0, okay? And he's even darker, right? So he's back. He's bigger. He's blacker. Colin Noir 2.0.
Man, what y'all be buying y'all on guns and shit off of? I ain't gonna lie, bro. I be on Palmetto State Armory. If you look that up or you know what that is, man, they be having some deals. And they got a pistol and AR bundle on there right now for $700.
Is he faded? Like the eyes half closed? Is that just the thing?
Man, what y'all be buying y'all on guns and shit off of?
That is a perpetual estate, John. That's how they
a perpetual estate. Perpetual state armory.
No, it's true though, because I mean, when you start that young doing the devil's lettuce, it kind of fries your brain. Then you're like that forever.
the devil lettuce. Yeah, yes. I thought it was Colin Noir at first until somebody told me it wasn't. It's crazy. Crazy. All right. Well,
if it was Colin Noir, you'd have a staccato or a Hellcat, and he'd be driving a Ferrari.
No, he's FN, dude. He's a YN supporting FN, bro.
He flip flops a lot. I remember him being into the Hellcat. I remember this whole staccato phase. Now it's an FN thing.
Well, yeah, he's a FN. Somehow he's the face of FN. Fabrique Nationale. Okay, and we need Colin Noir. What?
One could say that he is in fact an FN.
Well, I know. That's what I said. A YN who's also an FN. You know what I'm saying? But on top of that, it kind of makes sense considering FN has never made a good handgun. And so maybe Colin Noir is a good spokesperson. Maybe it's actually fitting that he's the face of hands and FNs.
Jonathan, I tend to agree with you. However, I really like the FNX 45.
I think
bro, you might, bro. That is a YN take right there. If I've ever heard one, no, it's good.
It's a great
John.
gun.
It's great.
It's better than the
How long
HK,
did it take you? How long did it
USD.
take you to get the muzzle device to get off?
That has nothing to do with the gun. That had to do with the aftermarket muzzle device. That was stupid.
Mm-hmm. Was the aftermarket muzzle device attached by a YN?
I don't know. You should ask Lost Arrow that question.
Crazy.
That sounds like a yes. And now my question, John, do you think that the current FN spokesperson is better than the previous FN spokesperson?
Shoot, who was the guy before?
Tim Kennedy.
That's I think
brand ambassador.
Again, I think if FN's goal is to make inroads with certain communities, then I do think that Colin Noir kind of fits that bill. Okay, so I think that tactically speaking, he might be good for opening them up to new demographics. The gentrification of the gun space. All right, or it's what's reverse gentrification? What do we call reverse gentrification? That's YouTube appropriate.
I was gonna say a word, but I guess never mind.
We're not 2 hours in yet.
Keep moving, Sigger. This is an FN neighborhood.
Could you call it hoodification?
Urbanization, gentrification, ghettoification, urban decay, ebonification, segregation. Whoa, hey, no, that's part of gentrification, okay? Because we price out all the YNs. Speaking of YNs, getting priced out though, this guy, this Marine, Mr. Amarillas. Now, Marines being Hispanic, Browns fighting Browns, it's very funny to me, okay? We are going to be deploying Hispanic, Mexican, South Americans, and they're going to be in Iran being like, Screw you, brown man. I'm going to kill you, you dirty brown man.
That sounded.
Hey, man. And whatever, dude. But it's just brown on brown violence in Iran. Okay, that's what it's going to be.
Accent.
Generic brown accent. Yeah, there's subtitles and it says generic brown voice. But Mr. Amaryllis is accused of stealing 2 million rounds of ammo. I think this guy is the cause of the ammo shortage. No. He was accused of stealing 2 million rounds of ammunition and missile launching systems and selling them. So the ammunition storage is this guy. Literally just this guy causing the whole ammo shortage in the U.S.
Wait, where's Ben Steger located again?
Also in Arizona. Questions need to be asked. Questions need to be asked. We haven't seen what's behind the door yet.
There's a not zero chance that if you bought certain types of ammo off tag swap,
it's this guy. Let's read this. So,
actually,
an Arizona Marine Corps corporal is in federal custody accused of stealing weapons of war at his base in California and selling them for his own profit, according to court documents. Andrew Paul Amaryllis was indicted by a grand jury this week in Arizona, accused of stealing a Javelin missile system and cans of ammunition from his base in California to sell on the streets in Arizona. Amaryllis, 23, is a Glendale. Now, this is also another interesting angle that I don't think this article is going to get into, but a lot of cartels, a lot of gangs infiltrate the U.S. military, send members in specifically to steal, get intel, training, all of the other stuff, and utilize the federal government, our U.S. military, to acquire certain things. So I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm saying that that is a plausible circumstance that has happened. All right. And Mr. Amaryllis might just fit the bill for some of these gangs.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, there's a lot of based references in the chat. Sorry, Randy. It would be based if it wasn't for the fact that most of this probably got sold to the cartels.
Yeah.
Which I don't like very much.
So the Glendale native who enlisted in the Marine Corps after graduating high school, investigators said while serving his country, Amaryllis was stealing weapons from Camp Pendleton, where he is an ammunition technician specialist at the School of Infantry West with access to military explosives and ammunition. Investigators believe Amaryllis would bring the weapons and ammunition to Arizona and sell them to 2 people who are listed as unindicted co-conspirators. Those people would then sell them to other companies. Interesting. Text messages were exchanged between Amaryllis, the middleman, and the 2 Arizona companies coordinating sales according to the court documents. Now, they say companies, and I don't know if that's in lieu of individuals or if they mean actual, like, physical, like, corporations, right? Because if they are selling to corporations, I would like to know who they are. That would be very interesting to me. So, just got some jabs and some other ones. Now, again, they're fixing his broken English. I have 2 launders that I think you'd like if you want to take a look tomorrow. So he's just got, imagine just floating around, you know, in your lowered Tahoe or whatever it is, and you got like a couple javelins sitting in the back. It's like, oh, you want to come look at a couple javelin launchers I got from Camp Pendleton? Just floating around? I mean, look at this stuff. It's hilarious. I mean, I wish I could have a javelin, okay? I was that guy in Modern Warfare 2 and 3 where you would just like pre-fire a javelin at a corner where you know people are going to be. You would run around the map and then it would land and get you like a triple kill, right? And it's just, there's no skill involved, but you would just like pick a spot on the map and launch it there. That was me. Undercover officers were able to purchase some of the cans of military ammunition from 2 Arizona companies, according to court documents. Law enforcement traced the ammunition to an Army depot in Utah and 2 ammunition supply points at Camp Pendleton and the School of Infantry West. They said some of those lot numbers of ammunition were signed out by Amaryllis. And I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands, 2 million rounds of M855.
Yeah, it's a shitload of M855. Now, the javelins, the one on the left looked like it was demilled.
Your guess is as good as mine is when it comes to that. If you're an expert in what javelins are supposed to look like,
the launch
milled
tube,
and demilled.
The launch tube's supposed to have like is it 20 millimeter or 40 millimeter hole cut through the side of it, flame cut.
Okay. Again, I don't know what I'm looking at for a demill, but cool. Anyways, there are indicators that investigators were not able to recover all of the possible stolen weapons. In paperwork to hold Amaryllis in custody, prosecutors said about 2 million rounds of M855 could be unaccounted for. So that's maximum 2 million rounds. They also mentioned that law enforcement seized one of the Javelin missile systems Amaryllis agreed to steal and sell. So imagine, like, how does the cartel have javelins where you see Corporal Amaryllis from Camp Pendleton is selling them on the DL? So it's like, how do these paramilitary groups, how do terror cells have access to high-tech weaponry? Well, you see, when we have a volunteer army of foreign nationals living in your country, it turns out that they don't always work in the country's best interests.
I love that they managed to seize one of the javelins.
What do you mean one of? How many are out there? Damn.
Should I be expecting to get hit by like a laser guided missile on the highway when I'm driving to work or something?
Bro,
like, what's going on here?
how wild would that be? Okay. In the next few years, there's political unrest, and we get videos out of, Mexican cartels engaging police and taking out like armored personnel carriers with javelins. All right. We have IRL MW2 lobbies in downtown Chicago because retards like this couldn't keep a lid on it, dude. Could be unaccounted for, blah, blah, blah. Prosecutors asked a federal judge to hold Amaryllis in federal custody pending trial, saying he was a flight risk, you don't say, I wonder to where, and a danger to potential evidence and witnesses at Camp Pendleton. According to a detention filing in federal court, law enforcement arrested Amaryllis before he completed an 8-week training course in Quantico, Virginia, ahead of a possible deployment to protect the U.S. Embassy in Myanmar. Instead, Amaryllis was in a Phoenix federal courthouse on Thursday and entered a not guilty plea. Good luck, bro. A judge ordered him to be held in custody. Arizona Family Investigates has reached out to an attorney listed for Amaryllis and 2 officials at Camp Pendleton for comment on his story. Wild. So anyways, if you're wondering where, if all of the government incompetence and the failed audits and stuff like that, missing 2 million rounds of ammo and, a couple launchers here and there, it's a little, it's insane that a corporal has that much power, right? Because that's over $1 million, not including any other weapon systems that he has. It's well over $1 million, $2 million worth of gear that guy's stolen.
So does this mean that 1,999,999 and 1 javelin is the threshold? You just don't go past that and you should be good?
Yeah, so try and keep it under 1 million rounds of ammo and maybe just a single javelin and you'll probably be fine, okay? Yeah. This poverty-stricken armory. And as John says, a lot of cartel guys go into the U.S. military. Marine buddy of mine told me about a guy who went AWOL after boot camp. They found him on IG living it up in Mexico. Yeah, well, and the point is that they go in there, they infiltrate, they get training, they learn how to use things, and then, of course, if they get access to equipment, it's very good for them. Very, very good for them. And then they sell it on the secondhand market. And somehow cartels are in possession of 2 million rounds of M855 and a bunch of laser-guided rockets. That's super cool. My favorite. All right, well, we are going to talk about how you and I, Jake and Richard, we are the most dangerous individuals out there, okay? We are the LARPing, CAG, of violent extremism of LARPers. We might as well be CAG, okay? We're Delta Dev Gru in the LARPing community, okay? LARPerator maxing out here, and we are the violent ones. But before we get to that, we're going to get to some of your guys' super chats, and we'll be back after the break. Over on Rumble, OJ Aret for 2 says, Christ is king, submit to Rome, pray for the soul of Noelia Castillo. Well, as I am not a Catholic, I will be doing the middle part. But Christ is king, and yes, we should pray for the soul of Noelia Castillo. Thank you very much, OJ, for that. And Mr. Noom, I saw him. He dropped 20 on Rumble. Says, you losers buy your beer and ammo. I like to buy them toes. Full video, sir. Well, for $20, Mr. Noom, we appreciate it. Jake appreciates it. I appreciate it. And the audience does too.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, Jake money, big My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money, that's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody.
I didn't do that. Thank you, Richard. All right, over on Ko-Fi for 3 separate donations, but he had to string together. So this is a very long message that I'll try to read. Learned some valuable things by going to an Orthodox church this past weekend. 1, they venerate martyrs above everyone except for the Trinity and Mary, which turned them into wannabe martyrs who won't defend. And then he continues on. Fellow Christian lives with violence because becoming a martyr is apparently sacred to them. 2, they believe Jesus at the Mount of Transfiguration was meeting Elijah and Moses when they went up on that same mountain, based because he is outside of time and it folded at those 2 moments, which is cool. 3, I will not convert to Orthodoxy until our country is no longer in a death spiral, or I find an Orthodox church that has the same vigor for protecting fellow Christians the way I have it in my bones. Stay blessed. Christ is King. Well, thank you very much for that, Mitzvot. I appreciate that very, very much. Glad that you went to a divine liturgy. I need to get myself to one as well, because that's one of the few Christian services I haven't been to yet. But within Orthodoxy, it's not as hierarchical as Roman Catholicism, right? Because within Rome, we have the Pope, you have the Pope, who is the supreme authority. Bishops are on an equal playing field. So if you're like, and they're not infallible in the same way the Pope is. So if a Pope, or if one church, priest, or bishop has something that's a little bit off from somebody else, they have this economia where it's not necessarily heretical or an issue. And it also, I'd be interested to see what they actually said about martyrdom and not defending yourself. Because again, I think that is a Christian principle, a biblical principle, and it's yeah, so I'd be curious to see the context of him saying that you should be martyred rather than defend your fellow Christians. Why not be martyred while defending your fellow Christians, right? Sabartic Noticer on Ko-Fi says, predictions, aliens.gov won't even reveal extraterrestrials. It will be a gobsmaday for Jeets and Nigers. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Probably. It'll probably just be slop to get them talking about it. Drainpipe for 10 on Ko-Fi says, watched the invasion of Iraq on TV as a kid, and now I can watch the invasion of Iran on TV. Time is a flat circle or something like that. Yeah, Drainpipe, it just keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. Bad Luck Brand for 5 says, I feel like ammo shortage videos create the shortage they speak of by causing panic buying, brought to you by Big Ammo. Yes, I think it helps. It does help the industry. So I get it. They want sales up. They want the money to be as high as possible. They want the demand. They want all of that. So yes, people making panic buy videos does help the industry, but it does that by draining our pockets, which I don't like. I dislike that. All right. Cody Fisher for 10 says, Christ is King. I appreciate that, Cody. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you all went to church yesterday. Had a good time. Amrai Boy for 2 says, Leighton gayer than a hipster in Seattle, which is insanely gay. Of all of the gay hipsters, it's like Seattle's got to be up there as far as, especially insufferable. Pacific Northwest hipsters are probably the most insufferable, I would say. Thank you, Amrai Boy. Vandalay for 5 says, I swear the intro gets longer every time, not a complaint, and focus gets later every time, complaint. No, I was actually earlier today than I had been the last couple streams. Last couple streams, I was pushing like over 10 minutes late, bro. But thank you, Vandalay. Appreciate that. JL Gonis for 2 says, tuning in from Jekyll Island. When does it turn into Hyde Island? That's my question. Is it the day-night cycle? Is it Jekyll during the day and then Hyde is the nighttime version of the island? But either way, hope you're doing well out there, Jordan. Thank you. Sabartic Noticer, member for 5 months, says, typo from my Ko-Fi should be Gibbs me dat. Okay, I got you. Also, and thank you, Sabartic Noticer, member for 5 months. Appreciate that. Tulip for 10 says, I feel like after John vanquished PSI, his intros got infinitely more decadent. Feels like some SPQR she. Yeah, they definitely got stranger. My tastes have expanded a little bit, you know, and I think the audience has been receptive to it. Okay,
I blame
so we're all
Logan.
sitting. More Moon Man. Yeah, throwing around the money. Well, Ed Logan. Logan did start it. So yeah, Logan and Moon Man. Yeah. Right Boy for 2 says Jake is the divorced dad rock playlist DJ, dude. All right. Jake, best early 2000s rock band.
Oh man, that's actually pretty hard. I enjoy some Green Day, even though they're absolute homos.
True.
The Killers, I really like the
Killers.
Killers
Are hot.
man.
Yeah.
The Killers are fantastic.
All right, pull out a lesser known band name though. Okay.
I don't know if I'll have any lesser known bands. Oh, Creed. Let's say Creed. I know Creed is a hotly debated one. Okay.
Creed. Yeah, lesser known band named Creed. Taking the internet by storm the last couple of years. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard of this band named Creed. They have the song "Take Me Higher."
Not lesser known, but fantastic and slept on by a lot of people.
All right. What about Chevelle?
I don't know if I listened to them.
I like Chevelle.
Chevelle, Breaking Benjamin, Seether, and
Seether's a good pick.
And a band called Red. Red opened for them, and then it went.
I love Red. Red's my favorite band.
Yeah,
they just lost their main singer. Michael just left the band. Tragic.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he been the front man for basically 20 years, and he wanted to take time off for his family, so he's no longer touring with them. Yeah, I've seen Red live 6 times. Okay, cool. Yep. Red is a good one. Red is still my favorite band, by the way.
There's a lot of comments of people's favorite
Saliva,
bands.
Puddle of Mud. Okay, all right. Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter has some good songs. 3 Doors Down. Okay.
Alice in Chains. Joshua Howard got it. That's a good one, but that's not
Poop.
really.
Poop saw Red on accident. Well, hey, then you got Blessed on accident, bro. Okay.
It is good
Mudvayne, Stained. Okay, all right.
Mudvayne and Stained. So the frontman for Stained, Aaron Lewis, I got to see him solo, like a unplugged concert where he just sat on the edge of the stage and played the acoustic guitar for a while. That was amazing.
Somebody asked about my holster for my Glock 17. It is this nonsense. It's an Amazon special. It works. Dude, Switchfoot. Yes, let's go. Switchfoot. Amazing.
Kill Switch Engage was pretty good.
All right. Well, anyways, that's a good diatribe. We could talk about that all day.
I see Blue October in the chat. You're my friend.
All right. There you go. I haven't listened to them I haven't listened to Blue October in like 2 decades.
They're great.
I was back when I was in like 8th grade last time I listened to them. Ray Polacost, member for 9 months, says, I would say the Starship Trooper model is the best. Oh, where only people who participate in the military have the right to vote. Well, I mean, listen, limited enfranchisement was always the plan for America. Universal suffrage, universal rights, voting rights was never the plan from the founding of America. All right. We heavily restricted voting rights in America, and that's what works better. Okay. As soon as you give everybody the right to vote, things go to crap. And that's exactly what we've seen within this country. I'm not even like a voting apologist, okay? But if we're gonna vote, it needs to be very limited. Thank you, Ray Polacost. And there's ways to do that. Lightsport for 2 says, hi, my Jakey Poo and others. Oh, stealing the show again, Jake. Lightsport for 2 says 6 or 7 times the debt. Yes. 6, 7. Deer Hunter for 5 says, John, how's a Jew supposed to get ahead if our soldiers don't go and die in the Middle East? It's really rough. It seems that they need other people to go die for them. You know, it is complicated. And listen, I think that greater Israel is only possible at the blood of the Goy. So
you know, it's crazy.
It's Goy death per kilometer.
What's crazier than the fact that they want other people to go die for them is that we do it.
Well, we do it till we don't. You know, that's the thing. There's always there's a little on-off switch. You know, it's crazy how it happens.
We haven't not done it yet, so we'll see.
You know, there is. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. There is an 8-decade curse for the Semitic people groups in Europe over the last 2,000 years that they've never been able to make it past 80 years in a single location or under a single government.
Talking about that, but you said there's a little bit more to it that you didn't get into that night.
Well, we're at 77 years currently. So, I mean, It's kind of funny. Zadyco, member for 6 months, says, I need 6 or 7 cases to get me through the summer. Yeah, if you're a guy and you only shoot like maybe 500 rounds a month, maybe it's worth it to go to spend like some money, get 2, 3, 4,000 rounds and be like, well, hey, that's enough for the next 8 months. And that way there I have it. Okay. And you can just ride it out, maintain your shooting, maintain your training, and you're good to go. Maybe that's worth it for you if you have some extra cash. Thank you, Zanico. Appreciate that. Amurai Boy for 5 says, bottom of the barrel wolf steel is 40 cents per round and widely available online. If that's available, then there is no need to worry. Now, again, for me, I wouldn't buy that stuff. I wouldn't shoot that stuff when regular brass cased ammo is right next to it. It's 43 cents a round. So steel case, when it's that close, doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's worse ammo. It's harder on your components. It's harder on your barrel. It doesn't cycle as well in all guns. Like, to me, it's just, no, I'm not going to do that. Thank you, my boy. Appreciate it. Zanico for 2 says, they are manifesting a price hike. They are simps. I think there's definitely some truth to that. Never panic buy. Never goon, never panic buy. Our Vandalay for 2 says, if you have to buy during a spike, buy match ammo. Richard, your mic just started fritzing out on me. What is the logic behind buying is it because it has less of a price jump? Maybe. Well, listen, if match ammo is $1 a round and ball ammo is 90 cents a round, then maybe there's some logic there. You might as well just buy the match ammo since they're both basically the same price. But if there's still a big price delta, like if match ammo goes to $2 a round and ball is $1 a round, I'm still buying ball ammo, you know. But I mean, yeah, if they're really close in price, just buy. Despop says just buy match ammo constantly. Money isn't real. Well, you know, it's true. Okay, fiat currency is not real. So yes, you should listen. The numbers on your credit card, your credit score, like I don't even know what that is. Okay, I think you're trying to get it down to 0. Right? The lower, the better.
Those little numbers on your credit card, they're not real. You can tell me what they are, actually. And I'll prove it. The
government doesn't want you to know this, but you can steal credit cards from old ladies. Chud for 2 says, Trench being a shill and a liar. How shocking. I didn't say that. TTGD. Is that like the ta-ta for good? TTFG.
Where'd our trench grenade media go? Like the sounders and gifts, they're gone.
Dude, Richard, your mic is fritzing out, bro. It's just constant static. I only have enough space on StreamYards, no matter how much money I give them, for 100 spots. So some things do have to go. So I did have to get rid of some of them. Dope Chart for 5 says HR 7166, also known as the Stop Online Sales Act of 2026. That would be retarded and gay. That would be horrifying. Now, again, I'm really lucky. I live in an area where there's not a lot of people, and for some reason, there's a lot of big box stores, and all of the shelves are just completely lined with in-store 9mm at 25 cents or less and 5.56 at 50 cents or less. You know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of rounds in South Dakota. So even if online sells out, I can go to my local, hardware store and pick up decent ammo. But thank you, Dotrot. I appreciate it. And stopping online sales is miserable. Chap for $20 says 1,000 rounds a week and you aren't a GM? WTF, John? I'm going to hit you with this one, bro. Listen, here's the deal. All right. If I don't make GM this year, I'm going to shoot myself live on YouTube. Okay. That's the deal right there. Handshake.
This is a joke, right? For the YouTube people. Okay.
Why would it be a joke?
Are you going to make someone else do it, or
listen,
are you going to do it to yourself?
I'm going to make GM, so there's no problem, right?
Okay. Yeah.
No balls. Lightsport for 2 says,
I hope you don't break your leg in a freak accident. And you're like,
I'm hobbling around. I'm in a wheelchair, like one-handed.
I have to do this. You don't understand.
It's the last match of the year. I'm like, please. Lightsport for 2 says, John clearly didn't play the Metro games. Yeah, I love the Metro games. Good games. Thank you, Lightsport. Appreciate that. Donzel for 5 says, Warren LPVO mounts any good? Yes, I use them on almost all my LPVOs. What's a good affordable mount? Was going to axe on Discord, but I guess I got kicked out. Never have the time to get on anymore. I think we kicked everybody from the old server because we were migrating over to the new server. So if you weren't active in there, you probably didn't get the invite or you missed it. Because I'm pretty sure we gave it out in that server.
Yeah,
just message me, Donzel.
You got caught up in the gas chamber, buddy. I'm so sorry about that.
What's a good affordable mount? Most of the time, like if you get a SIG MSR 1-6 that comes with a mount, the built-in mount is not terrible. If you get the Vortex Venom, that mount is not terrible. The Warren mounts are decent. The Primary Arms SLX line of mounts is really good. And the nice thing about the SLX line of mounts is that if at some point in the future you want to upgrade to an RMR top hood or a Picatinny top hood, they make the attachments for them. So you can upgrade them later on. So Primary Arms, SLX, Warren, really good ways to go in my opinion. Thank you, Donzel. Tristang for $6.90 says, hey, Focus. If you remember me, I was the guy trying to buy your Spectre. What's a Spectre? Why do I not remember what a Spectre is? What's a Spectre? Guys, what's a Spectre?
Is it a IR thing?
No. Elcan Spectre? Oh, Elcan Spectre. Yeah, it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. I couldn't sell it to you. Okay, yeah. I made the C8A2. Just need to form one it, and I'll show you once it's complete. Yeah, send me a message. Send me a message when you get it done. Thank you, Trising. That's how little I think about Elcans. My gosh.
I don't think about you at all.
Elcan. Amrai Boy for 5 says, have you never read the end of World Fantasy Books, the Patriot series? No, I think I have the first book in the Patriot series. I think my father-in-law gave it to me. Silver and 22 long rifle is obvious currency with a small side of lead. Oh, that's fantasy nonsense. It's fun to think about. There's some practical application, like when it comes to medical or survival or fuel and stuff like that. Like water, fuel, food, and shelter. Like that's the things you need to actually get nailed down. After that, it's going to be medical and then some self-protection. But really, you need to be part of a community, okay? And being part of a community means being in a homogenous area where you have like-minded people around you. And living in South Dakota, I have that. And also, we have millions of acres of farmland just sitting here. And when it doesn't have to be used for, economic crops, it can be used for non-economic crops. So thank you, Amorai Boy. Appreciate that. Zadico for 2 says, C-Class gang, stand up. Slowly, though. Geez, C-Class.
C-Class.
Love you, Zadico. Milspec Max for 2 says, genuine question, M193 versus M855. Listen, all right, if you're a night vision nerd and you're like, well, M855 has flash suppressant, and if I'm fighting a near pure force at dark with my nods on under thermals, then I need to mitigate flash. Okay, fine, fair. However, if you're just training, M193. M193 is the appropriate ammo to be using. And just make sure it's actual M193 and just going about 3,200 FPS out of a 20-inch barrel. That's about it. But if you're looking for flash suppressant, then yes, M855 does do that. Chud for 2 says, I sell overpressured reloads to blacks at Walmart. Based. Yeah, I sell 300 blackout marked as 5.56. Dude, there's got to be a way to sell like a detonator in one of those. I mean, just make it, you could. I'm sure you could. Not that you would want to, but I'm saying that the possibility is there. Ray Holocaust for 5 says, some people call me anti-Semitic, but I do support Israel with my taxes. Yes, we all support Israel. Tragic. Amorai Boy for 2 says, Beretta, CZ, Eurosig, countless others, OEM, Mechgar. Yeah, Mechgar usually makes a good mag. I'm just shocked that the Glock mags didn't work out. Graham Bergdorf for 5 says, I'll check out the VOD at work tomorrow. Keep up the good work, guys. Got to get a longer rap for Jake. Christ is king. Christ is king. Thank you, Graham Bergdorf. I do have a 2.5-minute version sitting on my hard drive. I might use it for an intro or an outro. But yeah, Richard, you're still just humming.
I don't know if that's just us being able to hear him or if anyone else can hear him, because people were commenting they couldn't hear it. So I'm wondering if it's
definitely buzzing in my ears.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have to stream here, Jake. All right, do you understand me?
I'm just so John. I'm just so incredibly tolerant. You know. Wait, someone
Jake,
said he could hear it.
Yes, there we go. Everybody, Gep can hear it. Everybody can hear it. It was way louder before though. That was not as bad, Richard. But yeah. Jim Eagle for 5 says stealing a javelin is insane considering most 0352s spend their whole first enlistment training the jav and never get to fire one. Missile cells crying. That's wild. Yeah, I'm a javelin operator. Never shot one though. And this guy's just hoarding all the javelins. Javelin maxing. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that, man. Mostly Flyers for 2 says poverty-stricken armory. You know, the memes are there. They write themselves. Bojangles for 10 says his command is getting... How do you not notice him taking any of the shit to his car? And if you served, how did no one notice after like a day or two? Listen, don't ask me how to miss 2 million rounds. Like, I spent the range, like time at the range today looking for 3 magazines because I was like, I know I have 9. I have 9 of these mags. I brought 9 of these mags. Like, where are they? So I spent legitimate time doing that. Whereas these guys missed 2 million rounds of ammo and they're like, I don't know. That guy checked out a bunch. Really? Okay. And the javelins just, plus or minus a couple, I guess. Zanico for 2 says, I can't believe they found 900,000 rounds of M855A1. That's crazy. 500,000 rounds of M855A1? What are they going to do with 100,000 rounds of M855A1?
I don't even know how someone could get away with stealing 50,000 rounds of M855A1.
Yeah. Zanico made the same joke. That's funny. He's 800,000 rounds, you say? 700,000 rounds, you say? See, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't be tempted to steal money, but I'm like, listen, it's the U.S. government. If they didn't notice 2 million, they're not going to notice 100,000 rounds that I put in the back of my truck. Surely, you know?
They surely won't notice 271,000. I don't think.
It's true. Maybe the 2 million's too high.
2 million's a bit too high.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's enough. It doesn't look like it's enough boxes for 2 million. Honestly, time he was only there for 3 years. Could he steal?
I don't know. Let's do some math. Because how would you how much space does
how many boxes do you think you could steal per day? You know, 3. Like if it's 3 a day and you only have 1,000 days or 3 years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. The math just doesn't check out.
Somebody get the calculator out.
I'm banned from the calculator app. Central Science Defense for 2 says, hey guys, just got this new sweet javelin for cheap. Yeah, dude, some of the tax swap listings are wild out there. You're in some sort of police chase and you're like, hold up, I got this. This perp ain't getting away this time. Dude, GSP would use a javelin. I know they would. Thank you, Central Science Defense. Appreciate that. Hey man, for $20.
Sorry, I don't speak monkey. Banana.
Hey, thank you, caveman. So the holster that I use, I broke my old one. I was carrying it one day. I think I was taking it off and the latch just broke. So I got this one off of Amazon like 2 weeks ago for really cheap. And so it's like a Warrior Land or something like that in this really lame carbon fiber, but it's for a TLR1. I've got a Holosun 407 comp in gold on it right now. And it has a threaded barrel with a comp on it. And it is hilarious. Tungsten guide rod, 13-pound recoil spring. It is hilarious to shoot.
And I bet that holster works. And you didn't even pay $120 for it.
It really does work. Yeah. Here's the thing. I shove it in my pants and I try to ignore the feeling that there's something shoved in my pants. You know? That's it.
It needs more logos and camo on it. It needs more doodads and whiz bangs.
Mm-hmm.
Did you even get that from T-Rex? Did you even get that from Tier 1? Come on, John.
Tier 1 T-Rex concealment. Thank you, caveman. I appreciate that. Central says a fence for 2 says Static X. Oh, dude. There's a song. It's Static X and Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park. And they did a collab, the two of them. Great song. I'm trying to remember the name of that song, but it's Mike Shinoda and Static X. Great collab. I'll have to look that up later. Thank you for reminding me of that, Ben. Thank you. Logan for 5 says, if you make GM before me, I'll shoot myself on stream instead. Listen. This isn't exactly a duel, okay? Because duels are illegal, but I have a deal. Logan. All right. Whoever makes GM first, we can't shoot each other, but the other person has to do the deed. All right. Thank you, Logan. Logan's only one classifier away, though, so that scares me. Thank you, Logan. Milspec Max for 5 says, which ammo would be the best for not fed posting two-legged game? Well, shot placement is the best for two-legged game. Spoiler alert, shot placement is the best for everything. So what allows you to put bullets where you want them the most accurately and the fastest? Usually, for me, that's M193.
Those pesky kangaroos, they are a problem.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's always shot placement. So, like, you find a load. I don't care where it's M193 or M855. You find a load. You find a brand that works out of your barrel. You get it zeroed, and you get proficient with the gun. That's what matters. Like, the specific load itself doesn't matter. I switch ammo types all the time. I have some hot ammo stockpile that I know is hot. I know it works. I know it's accurate. But I have that set away, and that's like my rainy day ammo. And then everything else I shoot is whatever's cheapest. Very complicated. Thank you, Milspec Max. Appreciate that. All right, finally. All right. Damn. Half hour of supers. You guys are insanely generous. Thank you. But now let's talk about how you guys are the true dangers to society. You airsofters, you LARPers, LARPing, called out chat, and violent extremism. Dun, dun, dun. Over the past half century, live action roleplay, LARP, thank you, has grown into a worldwide cultural phenomenon. It involves pre-planned theater wherein participants portray characters in an imaginary environment and interact with one another in real time. What's gayer, airsoft or like medieval LARP? Sorry to Hawkeye in the chat right now.
Oh no, it's okay. You can take it. I think medieval LARP is gayer, honestly. And I think if you looked at, like, if you polled the people who attend like Renfest, you'd find a lot of them are a little light in the loafers.
Yeah. You know, I think most of it's just cosplay, right? It's my barely disguised fetish, you know, the author's barely disguised fetish. That's really what it is. It's like, you know, it's basically the same thing as going to a Comic-Con. It's like, how little clothes can we wear while cosplaying the Middle Ages? Thanks. You know, you can be a whore in any field. You don't have to ruin the medieval timeline as well. On the other hand, violent extremism supports or commits real ideologically motivated violence to further political, social, or religious goals. Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about violence and force. Like, yeah, violence and force is used to move political, social, and religious goals, like throughout all of history. Like, what do you think the Revolutionary War was? Was that some sort of dialectic debate between the English and the quote-unquote Americans at the time, right? Was that a debate, or was that political extremism and violence? It's like, yeah. When you boil down to it, people think that, like, violence is bad, but you would say, okay, well, was fighting the war to free slaves bad? And they'd be like, oh, well, actually, in that case, it was based from their perspective, right? So everybody agrees that violence is fine, that force is fine when called upon. But they like pretend that in this specific scenario or in some fantasy scenario, it's always heckin' bad when they'll use violence against you to stop you from doing the other thing, right? Force is just the way the world works. And people just need to kind of get over that. Force is just how it works. Force is real, okay? This article will outline definitive ways to distinguish between LARP, the LARPers, and the criminal or malicious activity, which may be helpful to both law enforcement and prosecutors if suspects of targeted violences claim they were play acting. Yes, so this article will delineate between us, the dangerous extremists, and the LARPers. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Most people engaged in LARP as children, pretending to be certain characters and moving into a fictional world with rules defining the actions within it. The stage was set, characters were assigned, and the storyline was creative. See, there's something about that seems very transphobic to me. Just the way that sentence is read out. Seems very transphobic to me. Maybe some internal misogyny there as well. LARPing as a cultural pastime has evolved into playing tabletop games, recreating historical events, or enacting futuristic fantasy. One can even attend dinner theaters, events at which diners LARP as characters in a mystery. Individuals can engage in such activity informally or as part of an organized group. Presumably, the earliest formal LARP group was the Dagorhir battle games, founded in the United States in 1977. Members of the group create fantasy battles with harmless weapons such as foam swords. Another organization, the Society for Creative Anachronism, is an international educational nonprofit devoted to researching and recreating the pre-17th century world and thereby enriching the lives of its participants. Now, the exciting one, violent extremism. That's what I want to talk about. In the modern era, extreme beliefs such as anti-government. Really? Extreme beliefs, anti-government? Really? Anti-government's extreme? And again, I dislike all this couched language because it's usually so gay and there's no actual substance behind it. Because again, anti-government is not in and of itself a universal principle or a universal bad. If the government is doing something lay bad, then it's okay and morally justified to be anti-government.
I mean, if you talk to these same people and you were talking about like people who resisted the Nazi government, right, the Nazi regime during World War II, and you said, "Oh, they're anti-government. That's bad." These people would probably say, "No, that was awesome. Those were really good people."
Oh yeah,
it's kind of silly. It's kind of silly.
That's the thing. They use these word games to punish you while not actually holding to any sort of principle. Or anti-law enforcement movements. Well, would he say that the Black Panthers? I'm curious the thoughts of the authors on the Black Panthers and see if maybe there's some justified anti-law enforcement movements.
Or the George Floyd rallies. Wonder what.
Well, what about the people? What about the people who fought against the brown shirts? What about? I wonder what the authors would think about that. Maybe there's some justified anti-law enforcement movements. And social and societal unrest have become increasingly widespread. Some groups of like-minded individuals have organized into formalized, self-styled militias or informal clubs. And again, this is under the category of violent extremism. So militias, outlined within the Constitution of the country, you moron, is violent extremism. Meetings may entail impassioned rhetoric, as any political gathering, any protest anywhere uses rhetoric and usually impassioned. Like, hey, Jim, you want to come to the meeting where we talk in monotone voices about the state of our democracy and how we're going to fix it? And rehearsal of tactical operations for the ultimate future apocalypse when citizens will overtake the government or institute their own community policing. Yes, and now community policing has absolutely happened. If you look into any of the, like Hurricane Katrina, there were communities that were completely shut off and had to do their own policing to stop people from stealing and theft and breaking and entering within their own communities, and they absolutely had to do that. There has been documented, like on a micro scale, societal collapse within the United States, right? Where there's, extreme weather events or whatever it might be, where there has actually, I mean, rooftop Koreans is kind of a big one in the 2A space, where there is literal community defense and community policing that does happen. That is a real thing that has happened within the United States. And you can look to that to kind of model the future or the current off of the past. What has happened before almost certainly will happen again. Such activity may stay within the space of fantasy and hobby, albeit with the subject matter less mythical than knights slaying dragons and tactics less whimsical than clashing of swords, and may redefine the enemies in terms of political parties, police officers, the military, or the deep state. However, as recent events have demonstrated, some individuals conspire to commit real-world violence to advance their ideological goals rather than role play. And again, whatever side of the aisle you're on, we're currently using force in the Middle East. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, also show me the large scale acts of violence being carried out by groups of people that like go out and train together. Other than a couple of groups on the left, it really doesn't happen.
I can point to a lot of left-wing Antifa, anti-ICE people that have gone out and shot and murdered people. I can do that right now.
And it's funny,
right-wing militias get caught up in Fed traps for what's the word I'm looking for? For having like the wrong type of equipment. It's like, okay, well, they had an unregistered full auto. never did anything violent, but had an unregistered firearm, had an unregistered suppressor, you know, said some spicy things on a private Telegram chat. It's like, all right, whatever.
But it is funny though. It's like, well, if it's all this fake like gay BS like fantasy dragon slaying nights, it's okay. But once it's like something realistic, or it seems like these people are actually trying to work on their skills and better themselves, we can't have that. That's really scary and bad.
Yeah. Anything real or practical, that's scary and bad because I lay heckin' don't like it.
Yeah. How would they feel about the Ukrainians doing that though? I mean,
of course. Well, then it's based because those are fighting the lay oppressed.
Yeah.
Or fighting the oppressor. Sorry.
All those citizens taking up arms and training and getting ready for the invading Russian hordes. That's super great.
And again, I would just like to hear their opinions on things like the Black Panthers or BLM or Antifa, any of these people that have actually committed violence, were actually organized, and in some cases, like sponsored by the state in some ways, propped up by the state, given government funds in some cases, right? I'd like to know their thoughts on that, because my guess would be that they would be fine with those activities. All right, concern. Violent and criminal actors, particularly those involved in a conspiracy, which is just like a group of people getting together, I guess, by definition is a conspiracy, could potentially make false claims explaining that they were merely LARPing, not intending to follow through with an attack. That's right. Like if you and your boys go out in the woods for a couple hours on weekends, like, I don't know, guys, it sounds pretty violent, pretty extreme to me, and you could just say that you were LARPing. For example, after Caleb Franks was arrested in October 2020 for plotting to abduct, this is a famous one, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, he told the FBI that he and his compatriots were only LARPing. Franks later pled guilty and testified that this was a lie. Dun, dun, dun. And was it like 12 out of 14?
Yeah.
It died and they were all federal informants. That is a great one. They always pulled this one out.
It's always the one they use, and it's the one where it's like, okay, who were his compatriots? It was a bunch of federal agents. To say that he was planning it is kind of a stretch, I would say.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of other people didn't get charged because they didn't plead guilty because they weren't guilty.
If the federal agents would stop propping up and pushing people to commit violent acts, we would get a lot fewer violent acts in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bloodbase says, here's why it's okay when I use force is literally the formula for all power. Well, and that's what the left tries to hide. Like, force is bad, extremism is bad, while they're propping up Antifa, BLM, any anti-white hate group, any pro-state group, and, you know, literally tried to lock you in your house for COVID, wanted to force vaccinations upon you, whatever it might be, you know, truly totalitarian measures enacted upon you. And they're like, but listen, if you do anything against us, that's violent extremism. If you resist, that's violent extremism. Like, they wanted you dead. They wanted your children taken from you. They wouldn't allow you to see your family, your elderly family members in the hospital. Nothing at all. And they want to pretend that that force is bad. Okay, bud. Although the history of LARP as a legal defense is narrow, meaning one case you pulled out of your ass, the authors share the concern that it may soon become commonplace. Early attempts at such a strategy have been made by the defendant acting alone or in loose cooperation with members of a fantasy group who knew each other only in the virtual world, claiming artistic expression to excuse threatening language. Distinction. Now, this is funny. Table 1 outlines some of the most common distinctive characteristics between LARP and violent extremism or terrorism. They are likely observed in the subject's behavior and verbalizations independent of interviews or what is inferred from the overall discovery in a case. These behaviors offer critical opportunities for investigators to confidently determine whether an actor has engaged in innocent or malicious conduct. Now, this is really funny to me. Okay, so this article was created, as they state, to help law enforcement identify the difference between a LARPer, which is cool and kid-friendly, and violent extremism, which is lay heckin' bad. So let's see. LARP. All right. The audience is spectators, accepted or desired. And in violent extremism, secrecy is demanded. So if you have private group chats, imagine having a private offline server. Imagine, oh, dude, secrecy, wanting privacy. Violent extremism sounds pretty bad. Yeah. What sort of totalitarian state are you talking about where it's like, Oh, secrecy? You want privacy? You might be a political extremist there, a violent extremist. That's crazy. Participants, part of a large group. That's kosher. That's in LARP category. Or lone actor or autonomous cell is in violent extremism. Now, that definition is so broad that it can literally be anyone. So lone actor, individual, autonomous cell, any collection of individuals within a specified area or genre, like that could literally just be anyone. That's so useless in terms of its definition.
I think it is really scary when white men have community. I think they're terrified of that. I don't know what it is that's so terrifying about just some dudes having some bros and going out.
White man getting together. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God forbid a group of white boys have some motion, you know?
True. I am actually going to drop, somebody mentioned it. I keep forgetting. I need to put the Stoat link in chat every stream, but I keep forgetting to actually do that because we are eventually, once Discord finally puts the kibosh on all of us, we're going to have to migrate over to Stoat at some point. All right. So the components. I don't notice it now, so I think you're okay.
Okay.
Components, features of organized gaming, rules, character sheets, scenario scripts. So literally D&D. D&D is kosher. Anything real world or practical is bad. Now, violent extremism, absence of documented rules, character sheets, scenario scripts, in and out of character designations. All characters are frontline fighters or operational support personnel. So again, anything practical, anything real world, dangerous, terrible, awful, evil. But if it's a game rule like D&D, then you're cool. Okay, you can have your soy D&D campaigns. You can have your, I don't even remember the name of the famous YouTube channel that does Let's Plays with it. But yeah, you can have that. Anything more practical, though, that's awful. That's violent extremism.
This is why me and my Warhammer group are okay. We're in the clear. We're just a bunch of Warhammer guys, you know.
True.
Why
do you dress up all the demons are wearing cop uniforms? That's crazy. Relationship with law enforcement. No concern with law enforcement in out of character life. That's most people. Demonstrated concern with law enforcement and prosecutions of similar criminal behavior. Now, again, they're in the actual definition saying that the behavior is criminal, right? But just gathering together in secret and practicing practical applications of militia movements, whatever it might be, it's not illegal. And again, it's within the very founding of this country and our founding documents, not a problem. And again, everybody that I've ever met and done things with in the real world also doesn't have any like issue with law enforcement in like a general context, right? We have specific issues where we think that the state has overstepped their legal bounds, as I think all people do. I think all people do, right? If I went out and arrested all BLM protesters tomorrow, I think the writers of this article would then have a justified belief that, in his opinion, that I had gone too far in my police powers.
I mean, just in my example, the group of people that I shoot with the most are generally a lot of current or former law enforcement, former military, and some current or former feds. And we all hang out. We all have a pretty like mind.
True.
I don't know what that says about it, but something interesting, I guess.
And again, when it comes to equipment, no live weapons and ammunition. Realistic prop weapons often discouraged in the rules. So literally, you can be a gay little retard running around with a Nerf gun. That's okay. That's cool. But if you have live weapons and ammunition, again, also enshrined within our Constitution, then that's violent extremism. So if you're with a group of guys training to get better and use small unit tactics for any purpose that you see fit, that's possible signs of violent extremism. Actually, again, allowing you to have a firearm, I guess that's like maybe okay in some things, but actually going out and using it, training it, getting good with a group of individuals, you know, a group of dudes, all right, just some good old boys. That's problematic, though. Okay, we don't actually want you to have any power. That would be terrifying to us. Objective: completion of a safe, creative, and enjoyable theatrical experience. Again, the LARP column is just like gay retards. It's so cringe to read. Then, of course, the base column, the violent extremism column, sudden social or political change through targeted violence, often a day of reckoning and purification of the territory or community. Now, okay, all All right. If your militia's sole intent is something like that, all right, maybe we have some common ground with that. Okay. If you're like, listen, can't wait until the government falls and I could kill everyone in my local AO or anybody that I disagree with. All right. Maybe some cause for concern there. Okay. All right. But again, as long as it's within the confines of the law and in purely hypothetical scenarios, we can all war game here and be like, well, what happened if society did collapse and I was forced to defend myself from roving bands of blue helmeted warriors? Okay. In this hypothetical scenario, what would we have to do to secure our location, to secure our community? Okay. And psychological intent. Voluntarily, enter a fictional world that is kept separate from reality. And then for the base column, use violence in the actual world to impose a false narrative or enforce an idealized change. And again, it just comes down to we all agree that force is valid. Everybody does. Nobody thinks that they can enforce any sort of worldview, any sort of rule of law, anything without force. It's going to take physical force and physical violence to do so. So again, the left says it's cool when we do it, and the right needs to be limited in how much violence they can cause, how much force they can exercise upon society. And I just say, listen, if it all comes down to force, I think that we all have equal opportunity, so to speak. Confirmation bias. No confirmation bias and confirmation bias present. Again, I just don't know what that means in this context. Personal grievance. No personal grievance toward outgroups outside the voluntary fantasy world. Now, again, they're saying violent extremism, if you have some sort of personal grievance toward outgroups believed to pose an imminent and existential threat requiring violent action. This is the foundation of BLM and Antifa, is that white people, the patriarchal system, the privilege system in America oppresses minorities and browns and women and must be opposed with force. Okay, that is written in, that is a logical entailment of the BLM, of the modern Marxist philosophy. We are the oppressor class and we must be removed with force if necessary. That is literally what they are willing to use against you. But they say, listen, if you view us the same way, that's not cool. Mood. Euthemic. I don't even know what that means. Euthemic and joyful, anticipatory, fantasy to enjoy the event. Dysphoric and angry, anticipatory, fantasy to harm or kill the targets. All right. Again, it's just a use of force. It all boils down to use of force. Use of force bad when I do it, good when you do it, or vice versa, of course. And again, what's wrong with if you do have a real personal grievance? Like, I don't know. Let's say I was Arena Zarutska's family. Maybe I would have cause for some personal grievance. Maybe I would have cause for a little bit of anger there. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here.
If we just want to be better at everything, we just want to constantly be improving, and maybe we just want to be ready for when we get drafted to go fight in the Goy Wars. We want to do well for our country. I don't know.
Now listen. In the recommendations, it says investigators who encounter a claim of LARP can take concrete steps to sort out truth from fiction by comparing their observations and evidence to table 1. So they're literally like, listen, investigators, you need to use our table of contents to see if something is LARP or if it's violent extremism. Evidence may be obvious, such as documented purchases of bomb-making materials. Again, there's many legal bomb-making materials and books that you can buy. There's YouTube channels out there that you can find that go through how to make and implement certain explosives. It's not necessarily illegal in all contexts, or may require further investigation, such as probing and challenging motives during an interview. Blah, 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 blah. Conclusion. Live action roleplay is an old theatrical behavior and new excuse. The concern that this label can be used as a defense for planning and preparing a targeted attack on a public official, democratic government, our democracy, or anyone else is a real one. Leaderless cells may be particularly well suited to claim they are no different from true role players who enjoy the benign recreation of history or fantasy. To successfully manage these cases, investigators should consider whether it be prudent to collect evidence to help sort out the truth. And again, you have the doctors, the writers of this cringe bait article about LARPing and violent extremism. How can you tell if your neighborhood LARP group is actually violent extremisms? Rah!
Is my child a part of an alt-right militia group?
No, Mom, don't worry about it. Listen, Mom, I know you think my friends are a little extreme in our rhetoric sometimes, but they're good dudes, okay? It's all right, guys. My mom loves me no matter what you say. Now, in the article, they did mention like legitimate, or not, they didn't say legitimate grievances, but I'll say legitimate grievances, like cause for concerns, cause for issues. We'll grab a couple of these real fast before we get to that. Jarrett says it's pronounced Jarrett over on Rumble. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that, Jarrett. Crackalactica. Yeah, it's Crackalactica. Yeah, Crackalactica. Crackalactica for $20 on Rumble. Says, I have thousands of rounds through a dozen Mechgar Glock mags, no issues. I did wait till they had been out for about 8 months before getting any. Oh, and big toe money. Damn it, I should have read it before playing those other ones, bro. Yeah, well, I'm hopefully the ones that I bought worth it.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Take money, big toe money, that's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody's.
Dude, every time. Such a banger, dude. Crazy that AI has literally replaced Cardi B. Who could have imagined? Logan sucks at shooting. Member for 16 months says match on Saturday, potentially with a classifier. Well, listen, just bomb it. Just bomb it for me, okay? You'll be fine, Logan. D-class is where you belong. Bunser, member for 1 month, says, if you ain't banging Nas 3, you wrong, dog. Yeah, all right, 110 SAS Actual. All right, 110 SAS Actual. Thanks, bro. Yeah, use code SASSY, jury seller for $20.
I'm kind of retarded.
Says, yep, proud fascist, anti-government here. Christ is king. Christ is king. Well, what do you mean fascist anti-government? Because don't you want a fascist government by definition in your super chat here? I think you're kind of inconsistent in your beliefs there, all right?
You got one of those bipolars over here.
Yeah, all right. I'm a fascist, Marxist, capitalist maxing man. Thank you, Jury Stellar.
But Christ is king. That's very,
Christ is king.
very good.
Sure. Yeah, the other stuff is all secondary to the Christ is king. Samurai Boy for 2 says, the ATF dog team wants to know your location. Ah, man. I don't own a dog, which just means they're going to shoot my kids. Problematic. Thank you, Amorite Boy.
Get a stuffed dog. Fill it with Amorite.
It's funny, Jake, but that's really what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to break down the door, and my 18-month-old is going to be running with a little smile on his face, like, oh, daddy's home. Bang. Turned into pink mist.
Yeah.
Thanks, ATF. And this starts the arc for me. When I survive the gunfight and my family doesn't, that starts the arc right there. Okay.
It's gonna be John Wick.
No, it's just gonna be
John Focus Wick.
It's just gonna be Fed posting. That's all it is. Absolute Moon Man, member for 9 months, says Jake Toes rap for a humble membership. Super? No, Moon Man, I'm putting my foot down. But you did also pay $10 on top of it, so I might as well.
Put them toes down.
Put those toes up and arched. All right. Why are we talking about LARPing? Talk about guns so that I complain about guns instead of whatever more autistic thing I want to talk about next. Yeah, I know, Moon Man. You're always like, no guns. I want to talk about extremism, and then extremism is on the topic, and you're like, no, I need my guns. Well, you get neither. Here's toes.
This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Hey, take money, big toe money. This is a song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on.
Woo. $10 for half, okay? Half off, just like Jake's socks, if you pay him enough money. I heard that on the internet. I'm not sure if that's true, Jake. Can you confirm?
I can.
No, that's not a thing.
Keep that in mind. Well, Here is a tragic story, all too common that we are hearing these days. Lily Bova. I was going to make a bad joke about that, but I'm not going to. With Miss Bova, 16 years old. Lily was killed yesterday in her home in the quiet Chicago suburb of Glenview, Illinois. Hispanic suspect. Now, I don't know if there's such a thing. I'm not a Chicago native, okay? I don't want to be a Chicago native. I don't want anything to do with that area or the people involved, but calling any area around Chicago quiet as if it isn't more violent than a Middle Eastern country on any random day during wartime is crazy to me. But this is she was in her apartment and she was murdered by a Hispanic man who probably shouldn't have been here. So, family, friends mourn teenage girl shot and killed near Glenview, Illinois. Grief counselors were at Glenbrook South High School on Monday as students head back to school from spring break, and the community continues to mourn the loss of 16-year-old Lily Bova. This as Cook County Sheriff's police detectives are continuing their search for a person of interest. Bova was shot and killed inside her apartment at 11 a.m. on Saturday. She was finishing up her sophomore year at Glenbrook South High School. According to Sheriff's Office, they found the teen with a gunshot wound after being called to the apartment. First responders did CPR and rushed Bova to Advocate Lutheran General Hospital, where she died. On Monday morning, detectives were searching for a dangerous person of interest they described as armed and dangerous. It's kind of redundant. Meanwhile, Lily's dad and friends have been trying to navigate their sudden loss as they pleaded for justice in what they called a murder. I hate everybody who writes these articles. What they called a murder? Is the author just trying to not say the word alleged? What do you mean called a murder? Like this is a stereotypical B&E by Mexican man murdering a white girl. As he set out photos of his daughter on frames in the grass on Sunday, Anthony Bova said he will always remember her as the little girl who liked to dress up. She could do anything. She was into everything, said Anthony Bova. She was a good person. Lily's dad said she lived in the complex with her older sister and she was learning to drive. In fact, her dad took her to the Grove in Glenview a couple weeks ago to practice. She was gorgeous, said Madeline Mendoza. She was the prettiest girl I knew. Madeline was a lifelong friend of Lily's, and Lily lived next to Lily in the Salem Walk apartments near Milwaukee and Lake Avenues. I'm her neighbor, Madeline said, and I could see her into her window. Authorities have not provided information on the circumstances that led up to the shooting or whether Lily knew the shooter or if the shooting was random. Layla Milanovic and Sasha Banaban are two of Lily Grenbrook's South classmates. We have a piece of her shirt, Layla said, and we cut it into a bracelet. So this is just going to continue on mourning the loss of a young lady who has gone too soon. And there are many, many cases like this around America. Just anywhere you look, nearly every single day, a story like this comes across my desk where...
Your mic.
Sorry, what?
Your mic. You just killed yourself.
Are you sure about that, Richard?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing? It's popping through for StreamYards.
John, your mic.
I hear it. I hear his mic.
Richard is coming through static for me.
Yeah, Richard's coming through all weird.
So Richard's telling me I'm muted while he's the issue.
Gaslight.
Gaslight, girl boss, gatekeep.
Yeah, this is sad. I hate seeing these things. But it's like, it is one of those things where you almost get desensitized because you see these articles so often. And this is not how things should be. This is not how our country should be. And there's always a common thread every single time, but it's like really inconvenient for some people. And it just makes me sick.
And there is no update. I tried to find an update on the shooter to see if he was apprehended, and he has not been yet. But if there's a Hispanic man in Chicago, which again, Chicago is split up into basically districts. Like if you look at the racial dot map of Chicago, it's like blacks, Hispanics, whites on the outside, because surprisingly, it's a lot of black on brown violence in the area. It's almost like people naturally self-segregate in a lot of ways.
If
there's no way to get around it.
If there's a Hispanic man in Chicago who killed this young lady, you should probably just kill yourself now, because Illinois is not going to do it. So that's probably the best outcome from that story if that were to happen. But it's sad. If you guys have kids, think about this. Imagine this is your kid. You know, I don't mean to go all Sam Hyde on you, but one of the things you can do to protect your family is don't live in Chicago, because these kinds of things, like, you're not guaranteed to get away from it anywhere, but you're a lot more likely to have this happen to you in Chicago or happen to your family. And yeah, it's disgusting.
You know, it's one of those things where you can try and get away from it, and you can limit your proximity to these types of individuals. But I understand that it's not necessarily even economically viable for some people to get away. Like, some people have houses, have jobs, they can't leave, they're financially strapped. They're, in some ways it's complicated, and I think you do need to be the man and man up in this situation. But a lot of the times, you know, your children will be like, oh no, I'm not leaving. I have all my friends here. I have my high school is here. You know, I need to graduate. I'm graduating in a year and a half, Dad. We can leave after that, or something like that. And good.
I'm not trying to like put blame on the family, but like, I wouldn't let my 16-year-old daughter go live with her older sister in an apartment alone. From the article, that's what I gathered. That just seems like a bad situation.
It seems like a recipe for disaster.
Yes, 100%. I feel like you should be taking care of her up until she's 18, and then up until she's married. You know, she should probably just stay in your home. Protect your daughters. If it's a son, turns 18, send him off. You can go do great things.
I mean, I don't even agree with that. I know that that's kind of like the modern thing, is to kick somebody out when they turn 18.
If you have a son and he's like, he has some aspirations, he's got a plan, and he wants to move out, I'm fine with that. But like a daughter, sure. I honestly don't think a daughter should move out until she's married. That's my opinion.
Correct. That is your traditional, misogynistic, patriarchal view, and I'm here to tell you that that is based and correct pilled.
Yeah, it's misogynistic to want to protect your daughters.
Yes, it is. No, they will tell you that it's misogynistic and patriarchal by definition, and I'll be like, yes, and problem? Like, tell me how that wouldn't have solved this problem, being under the direct protectorship of a man. Yeah. Well, now another group of people that I am not super familiar with. I think we've covered them once before on the show, but that is Bryn the Man, or Bryn X the Man, which is a couple on Instagram that post rage bait content. Now, we're in the rage bait section of my own show, but essentially they cover the worst of society. They post the gruesome stories, the terrible stories, the ones that you aren't going to hear about, and they try and, you know, bring the coverage of the true evils of the world to a wider audience. Now, this obviously has come with some degree of scrutiny, as I have 140,000 followers, and people are not happy with them. So allegedly, the boyfriend, the man, is now in jail over alleged false reports. I'm not really sure how this goes on. We'll listen to their call and the post here. So my boyfriend, the man, is in jail over false reports. He asked me to record this message for our supporters, but the audio is bad. He was driving to school when he was pulled over and arrested over a report made by what we assume is someone who doesn't like our page. This is always a possibility when it comes to being online and being public facing, right? And I understand that this is not likely to happen in my context, just based upon where I live. But like, imagine living in some liberal hellhole, California, any major big blue city, and you could face advanced scrutiny. You could be kicked out of schools. You could be kicked out of jobs, right? Again, I'm very fortunate in what I do that I'm very isolated. There's no boss to call. You know, if you don't like me and you're trying to get me fired for something I said, there's not really somebody you can call and just get me removed, you know? But for other people, if you are going to be forward facing, be a public figure in some way, you know, you have people showing up at people's houses, stalking people, death threats, all that stuff is normal. But it is a risk that these people take by being public figures who engage in controversial material. And but in these guys' case, controversial material is literally just showing violent crime perpetrated by blacks. Like that is literally the material that these guys do, is violent crimes perpetrated by blacks. And if you just show that, it's going to piss people off. That's not very nice. Why would you piss people off showing them truth and reality?
Yeah, I mean, I've followed them for a little while, and I like their content. It is a little rage baity, but I like some of their content. But
Yeah,
even
but
if you just go back and look at some of the comments on their videos, there's like almost every single post on their Instagram has some melanated individual telling them that they need to be executed or that they're going to come and kill them. It's like constant in their comments. It's not surprising to me at all that this happened.
They are aggressive in their rhetoric, but so am I. And the main thing, I don't care about any of that, the tone policing, gay faggotry. Like, I care about the truth. And they just bring light to horrific actions that you should be aware of, especially people in this chat. Because let's be real, we're all men, okay? We're all striving to be good men, community leaders, family members, heads of household, all that sort of stuff. We should be aware of the evils in this world and be prepared to confront it, or in some cases, eliminate it.
This free call, press 0. To refuse this free call, hang up. This call is from a correctional facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Three-way calls are strictly prohibited in a violation of NDOC policy. Thank you for using Global Cell Link.
Hello, babe? Yeah.
You recording?
Yes, I'm recording.
Okay. Well, and everyone listening, this is like a, for doing what we do, it comes with risks, and I'm already taking the consequences. There was a false report made on me, and I'm in jail. And I have no bail option, which is fucking crazy. You've seen our videos, you've seen what people get arrested for. Killing, stabbing, and all that, setting people on fire, they all get bail on me. A bullshit call is made on me, and I get no bail.
So it's really, really hard to listen to it, but he's basically saying there was a BS call that was made on me alleging that I did something untoward, and because of this false allegation against him, that's his claim, he's being denied bail. Right, which is pretty egregious. To be denied bail for something needs to be like a really actionable threat, or like a really serious assault, or something, right? To actually be denied bail is a big deal.
So I have like a little bit of information on it because I watched the stories as they were coming out. And I also got some info from some of the comments people were talking. It made sense. I guess the fact that he was denied bail, it was on a weekend. And if there's no judge to set a bail, then he won't get a bail until after the weekend. So that could have changed already.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Also, she did mention in one of the stories that, in one of the videos, that they were basically claimed that they were neighbors of them and that they heard him. It sounded like a domestic allegation against her.
Wait, against, like, so they were saying that he beat her up.
Yeah, it sounded like someone was calling, making a claim that they were the neighbor and they heard him doing something to her. And she said, I think she said he's facing, with all the charges, it's up to 1.5 years, I believe.
Well, so but if it's domestic violence, couldn't they just look at her face and be like, but she's fine.
No,
she's saying she's fine.
That's the yeah. I have some. I don't want to give away a bunch of stuff, but
I'm just curious.
I know some people who have been involved in domestic incidents recently, and that's not necessarily how it works.
Well, wait a second. How can a neighbor, like, if I go to my neighbor and say he beat his wife, and then the wife is like, "No, this guy's crazy. We've never talked to him before." He doesn't just get thrown in jail without bail.
With there could have also been some kind of like falsified images or something. That's very possible. Could have been some AI shenanigans. But when it comes to DV, they will err on the side of caution and just throw people in jail with very little evidence.
With no evidence?
Based on like
so if you
my
say
word
I didn't
against
do
yours.
it, if you say I didn't do it, the woman says no, he didn't do it, but the neighbor says yeah, he did. They just take the neighbor over the two people supposedly involved in it?
I could see that happening. They will literally, if there is a claim being made, even if the person who is allegedly the victim says it didn't happen, that could be coerced. You know, they could feel like they're threatened, so they don't want to say it. They will literally just throw people in jail for that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know how long he's going to sit in jail, but
well, it's Monday now, so hopefully this was 3 days ago. So this was right before the weekend. So.
They do some crazy. I mean, talk to a cop or talk to anybody like that. You know,
but don't crimes just have a set bail amount?
Not necessarily.
They have a minimum, but it's not. Like if it's his first offense, he might have gotten ROR, which is released without any bail. So
yeah, but like if there's no one there to set the bail,
yeah, you have to go in front of a judge before you can get that done.
Well, but I mean, like I've been to jail and I posted my own bail right away. I was in jail for 2 hours. No judge. It was on a weekend, so I would have had to wait till Monday. And I said, no, I'm just posting bail now, and I left.
But I think when it involves a domestic allegation, I think it's a little different.
Yeah, domestics, they hold people for a minimum amount of time.
Can we just get that law, but just for melanated individuals, and just hold them without bail? Just like, a holding pen, I guess.
Posted his super chat that he just posted. I think that's pretty much how it goes.
So can you sue for restitution? Post it, because if you get,
probably,
I would hope so, because that sounds awful. That sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Getting arrested and spending 3 days in jail for nothing, for literally nothing, for somebody else's false allegation. Like, yeah, that sounds like jail time, real jail time for somebody, or at least a payout. But following on here says he's being treated like an animal and a criminal with no bond and wasn't fed for over 24 hours over a lie. Yeah, some jails are absolutely miserable. So here's the update video from Bryn, I believe is her name.
I'm going to clear up what I can without giving out too much information. I'll show his arrest documents. I'm sorry I'm so terrible in front of the camera, which is why he talks and everything. His family said I could talk about some of the details because they're just so upset about what happened, and that he's just a veteran who was going to school, and they're just saying these horrible things about him.
Yeah, so I mean, anytime a better way to A types in the chat at all times is quite funny. Yeah, rough.
And they're
very the compassionate left.
His arrest when he literally didn't do anything. And a lot of people were asking where he is in jail and what he's charged with, but I can't give those specifics because I don't want him to be found. It's just a really bad area, and whoever made the fake reports, they could be watching this and waiting for him. And God knows what they're planning, or if they can talk to someone on the inside. And I found out today that the 3 charges that he has could get him in jail for 1.5 years. Everyone knows we get death threats every day, and now someone knows where we live. Basically, someone called the police on something they supposedly heard him doing involving me in our apartment. And it was so specific that they mentioned our dog that we've posted on here before. So they definitely know who we are. But he proved it was a lie because we were not even in the state when the call was made. But either way, they put warrants out for his arrest that we didn't know about and stopped him on the way to school.
Do I, babe, go to school? I forgot. Kids' their location, woke up, but I got lucky. Tippy. Weird couple stuff. I don't want to get into that. It's just what? I don't feel like it doesn't give you a right. Yummy. Alfredo.
And took him to jail with no bond.
So scheduled action, charity bail, criminal court, active criminal. See, they're not saying what the charges are.
The information that she's providing is very vague, and the information she's redacting seems like that would be.
Because like the false allegation with specificity from a neighbor, that's like pretty strong, especially if they weren't in state. But then if they're false allegations, this is just my speculation here. If they're truly false allegations, why not just show them because they're false? Or is there maybe a little bit of truth in here that we're trying to hide? I'm not sure. I think that is runny eyeliner. That is, if you're looking at left, right, that is runny eyeliner.
I think also with these kinds of things, if you do have evidence to the contrary, like if you have proof that it wasn't actually that way, you still have to wait for your hearing to be able to present that. Like you can't just they're not just going to let you out of jail until your first hearing at least.
Yeah, that's guilty until proven innocence and a violation of Fourth Amendment.
But that is how they treat DV charges. That is how they treat it, which is interesting.
Huh. I mean, this is like, who cares about red flag laws? Just claim your neighbor that you don't like committed domestic violence.
It's essentially the same thing, you know?
I mean, it's way more effective. Just do it on a Friday so they can't even see a judge until Monday.
So usually the course of action would be they go through the investigation and then they realize it was a false report and then they arrest whoever made the false report if that person is even located in the U.S.
Because they're treating him like someone who's fleeing the law, basically. And I can't.
Also true. I find that, like, that's the disconnect for me that it's really hard to believe. Like, people who stab someone or bash in a grandma with a nail through a 2x4 get released the same day, but somebody who has a allegation against him with no evidence spends multiple days in jail before he can even has the possibility of leaving. Yeah, and this is also Midwest Gunshot is pulling up some fresh knowledge here. Great PFP. Richard and Jake seem to know a lot about how DV arrests work. I don't know any of this stuff, so I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm from Florida, and I have a couple female cousins went through very, very bad divorces. So
I can't call him because they're taking so long to process him. And now we have to pay for a lawyer and break our lease just because someone found him. And they know where we live. With the permission of his family, I made a GoFundMe. Please, like, if you can, it's okay. There's no pressure. Please just like, share, get it out there so everyone can see it. Leave comments, just please get this seen. And if you follow our personal stories, you knew that we were gonna release merch next week, but it literally just ruined everything. So I'm just genuinely sorry that I'm asking like this. We're just stuck right now. As soon as he can, he will tell everyone the charges. There's 3 of them and they're so fucking ridiculous, you literally wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable shouting out your GoFundMe if I had more information, right? Because there's just a couple of red flags perking up here and there, and I'm like,
I'm also starting to wonder, because you know how she mentioned that they mentioned the name of the dog?
Yeah.
And she said they're ridiculous charges. I would not be surprised if one of the charges involves animal abuse.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. So if it's like domestic abuse, spousal abuse, animal abuse, or negligence or something in there.
Yeah.
Listen, the boyfriend, and I'll show the GoFundMe here. You can find it. Now, the goal is the funny base, $14,880, of course. The boyfriend isn't, well, I mean, he's brown-ish. I mean, he's as white as Nick Fuentes. So,
by split decision, out of the red corner.
I mean, he's Spanish. I think that's the nice way of putting it. He's Spanish. Yeah.
People are saying they're getting red flags from this chick. She is a woman. Women are bad at talking.
Women are literally red flags. I mean, so here's like their content. We've covered the story here.
I'm warning you now. This story is gonna make you feel rage, but the comments are gonna push you over the edge. These 3 young niggas kidnapped and brutally raped a 12-year-old girl. And while she tried to scream for help, the 15-year-old shoved rocks in her mouth to shut her up. Educated Beauty says, no child, no matter the situation, should be charged.
Black people logic there, of course. Listen, that 15, 13, 12-year-old raper shouldn't be charged as no adult. Let them kids out. They didn't do nothing. They was just running a train on that bitch. Which they literally said, by the way. The aunt literally said that in a live stream that we covered. But yeah, I mean, they do the rage baity content, and they have a GoFundMe with the based funny number in it. They are, again, the white race's strongest defenders. It just always turns out that they're a little more brown than you would expect.
We can't find white people to defend the white race.
Find real white people to defend white people.
We have to get the browns.
We've outsourced tech to H-1Bs. We've outsourced agriculture to Mexicans. We're outsourcing the saving of the white race to South Americans, bro.
The The Browns are doing this in order to earn their spot in Agartha. They think if they pay penance in this way, it'll get them there. And you know what? I commend them for it. Keep on trying.
Holy crap! It's Mexican focus. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Got me. Not wrong. Not wrong though.
You can, John. You'll do like a collab with them whenever he gets out of jail.
Yeah, collab, dog. Yeah, we'll get one up for him, dog. 100
For the record,
well,
we
listen,
we trust you. We don't think it's a red flag.
I've never had a woman on the stream. Okay, so
Mocha trip.
I don't know. I don't know. Mocha trip. Never had a woman on stream.
Are you sure? Oh well,
Never.
I guess on a video. Never mind.
Nope. Never had a woman on stream talking live.
Okay, yeah.
Why would I?
That's good.
Well, I mean, Richard doesn't count. He's only half. Now, speaking of outsourcing our security and our future to Browns, how about Kash Patel? How about the email hack of all time with a lot of unconfirmed things in there? Okay, I know everybody's jumping down the I don't want to get into it, saying all sorts of dresses, just weird stuff. FBI Director Kash Patel's Gmail account was hacked by Iranian nation state hackers. I'm sure it wasn't Mossad. They have published his entire inbox, including mails on his home in India.
His girlfriend just got the passcode for
his home in India. Huh. Weird. Strange. I thought he was our director of the FBI. That's weird. Private life, personal data, business dealings, and travel history. Havana, Cuba. What? The head of the FBI traveling to our nation's enemies? What? For cheap contraband? What? That's unbelievable.
Chad, I got a question. If any of you guys have a security clearance, would going to Cuba be a red flag? Would that be really hard to get a security clearance?
His password was password. It's like that thing where it says type password and he thought that was a command. Password.
Okay.
Anyways, now, again, I saw this. I was like, I don't know if this is true, but allegedly FBI Director Kash Patel's info has been leaked, revealing he made a porn account under the name Spider Cash. Now, it was January in 2020. COVID was just kicking off. So maybe he was like, you know what? I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. I might as well have something else in my hands. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
John, I hate that. I hate that so much.
Listen, he can't help it. He's Indian. Sometimes nature just kicks in with these people and they have to donate to OnlyFans or whatever porn account it is. Yeah. Now, there were other funny videos floating around, like the whole dancing thing. That was fake. That video's been out there for a while. It is very funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like to believe it's real.
There was another image video floating around that allegedly had him registered as a female on password. Password? Hello, dog. Can you tell me your password? I needed a password for the under account. I gotta get into my ex Tesla. I need to get into my ex videos.
Sir, please do not release my email, sir. Please do not do this. I am the director of FBI.
Bob and Virgin, because he was Spider Cash shooting webs. No!
Oh, no!
No!
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, finally a real goon. Real goon, dude. He was redeeming that password.
Turning the FBI into the real goon squad.
Yeah, it brings a whole new meaning to Goon Squad in 2026, dude. 2026 is wild, dude. We're about to get into the 4th month of 2026, and it's going to be ground invasion. I think they've already teased the next DLC for 2026, and I'm pretty sure it's ground invasion Iran edition, okay? I think it's going to be a good time for all of us. Oil prices to the moon. You should buy oil futures right now. Right now. Okay, but thinking about other futures here. How about, once again, we have Florida man selling to cartels, if I'm reading this properly. Florida high school teacher sentenced for giving firearms to transnational crime ring.
Based?
Well, yeah, I
Wait,
love
are
the
they
cartels.
Is it a trans crime ring?
Well, transnational, so they're American and trans, or
Oh, okay.
transnational
So they're
as in international.
So they're transgender. Or am I misreading that?
I'm reading this, miss. Yes. Now, fortunately, I honestly think when I look at the collection of firearms here, you'll notice 6 Bear Creek Arsenal uppers, 7.5-inch uppers on the bottom, 6 of them. I honestly think they would do more damage in the hands of the cartels, so we should have actually just allowed him to continue with his shipments. So, Shannon, Nicole, Sam Larsing, a U.S. citizen, okay, and former Hillsborough County high school teacher will serve prison time for conspiring to provide firearms to a Trinidad-based transnational criminal organization. An ICE HSA Tampa and ATF HQ investigation revealed that she falsely stated on ATF forms that several firearms she was about to purchase were for her, yet after buying the weapons, she gave them to transnational criminal organization members who smuggled them into Trinidad. So we got literal abuela maxing here. Abuela selling to the cartels, selling to Trinidad gangs. Gets slapped down by the ATF. Oh no, dude. I found an image, okay? I need to ask the chat. Is the chat gonna drop in the chalky milk? Okay? Gonna dip in the chalky milk. That's what I need to know.
That depends. Is she going to smuggle guns for me?
I mean, she already did it once. Mrs. Sam Lalsing.
No, thank you, Jonathan.
I was thinking Sam Lalsing, but this might be Sam Lalsing. Would not?
Sam Lalsing.
Of course, the Native American would miscegenate. Listen, there's so few of you left, and you're going to ruin it? You're going to ruin your lineage? Your great father in the sky would be, or the spirit in the sky, sorry, would be so unhappy with you. Miscegenating like that.
Do we get to ask additional questions first?
These people do not love our country? I don't know. Listen, I think that when Sam Lalsing was drafting the Bill of Rights, that they really had a future in this country. You know, there were so many of Sam Lalsing's, so many signatures listed at the founding of our country. It's crazy. It's crazy how many Sam Lalsings were signers.
Isn't like Trinidad? Isn't that where what's her name is from? Nicki Minaj? Or Rihanna?
Is it? I don't care, dude. Nicki Minaj, Trinidad.
Maybe Rihanna.
I don't even know where Trinidad is.
It's one of those fake countries in the South.
It's an island.
She can get colonized by this white meat rocket.
Oh, it's literally, yeah, it's a tiny little island east of Venezuela. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Wild.
It's like where Jack Sparrow went in the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of those
Trinidad
places.
and Tobago. Yeah, you're naming another island. I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. It's next to Florf, right next to Oregonborg. You know these places are. I'm from America, dude. You think I know where?
At least you pronounced the last two correct.
It's right. It's John. It's near Little St. James. If that gives you an idea.
I've never been there either, Jake. I'm sorry that your childhood was ruined. That you have that place
ruined. That's a fond memory for him.
Ah, that's even.
Richard. No. Okay, we're not going there, bro. That's crazy.
I got the toe pics to prove it. You in a dress.
Oh, really? Are my toes in the files? Look it up. Are my toes in the files?
Yes. You were wearing the blue dress.
You know the one.
Are you calling me Bill Clinton? I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That man. Woman? What? What are we talking about? All right. Well, hey, have you guys ever heard of Kyodoza or Kryodoza? In China, a man interrupted a local festival with a bulldozer. You know, just Chinese people trying to take inspiration from great Western acts of defiance, and they're like, you know, trying to do the Eastern version of a Western classic. It's all right. The Killdozer. The Killdozer.
The guy gonna throw a tiny chair.
Now listen, all right. I know the first thing when we in the West see somebody driving through a crowded square is like, all right, Muslim terrorist. It's a BLM terrorist. All right, you know. But in this case, I just think the guy can't drive. I think this was an honest mistake. Just tried to park, took the wrong turn. You know, I think this is just a big misunderstanding, all right? Maybe this is a bit of a visibility issue, but I think this is just a big misunderstanding.
Maybe his WeChat got blocked and he just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, our Killdozer was so much more base than this. This guy tried and failed, dude. Cheap Chinese knockoff of the Killdozer?
Did he even have tracks on it?
It's fitting. No, it's
no. He had one of his tires is already flat. There's people like on there trying to get him to stop, which I'd be good on them for being brave and trying to make sure people don't get hurt. But
I just appreciate the guy who threw the world's smallest chair.
Yeah,
I don't think it's them being brave. I think it's them realizing that they are literally bugs and there's billions of them, and they just like one dies and 13 more grow back in their place.
No, that's the Indian thing. Indians have the myth of the juggernaut, right? That's Indians, right? They just self-select. They just do retarded things to get themselves killed. Chinese people are not the same way, okay?
I mean,
they're self-respecting bugs.
To be fair, we don't really know all of what happens inside of China. You know, we don't know what culture is like there. Maybe this is a cultural norm. Maybe they do this a lot. It's part of the festival.
Yeah, we've had the Japanese overlap on Twitter, but I was not expecting the Chinese Killdozer event of 2026.
Yeah. Is this chat? Is this jade or opium? Call it.
It's a good question. Speaking of jades, though, I know Jake's gonna love this story, dude.
No, I don't think I will. I see that picture, and I don't think I will. Actually,
so this is funny. So breaking a bill proposing the tracking of transgender individuals in Tennessee has officially passed the state house. Now that's based.
That is
mega based, right? Now, is it going to be kosher with freedom of assembly and whatnot? Probably not, but it's fun while it lasts. Anyways, President Mitch just says, I thought we already had a sex offender registry. We don't need an app for that. We don't need a bill for that. We track them normally. You want to register as a tranny, then you get implanted with a chip that tracks you everywhere you go. Perfect for them.
It kind of makes sense. I mean,
Now,
I know it violates constitutional law, but at the same time, I feel like you've given up your rights.
Listen, black people violate constitutional laws all the time, and liberal states do it all the time. They don't care about the Second Amendment. They don't care about the First Amendment. Then, they push forward unconstitutional laws, wait for it to get smacked down like 10 years later and face no repercussions. So shouldn't we just do the same? Say the Constitution be damned. We're just going to shove things through, and then eventually they'll get struck down, but we're not going to face any repercussions for it. So who cares? Who cares? We're going to just live our lives in the moment and push out whatever bills that we want. And then eventually, if it gets struck down, it gets struck down. C'est la vie. I'm using the tactics of my enemy against them.
I would imagine that if this does pass the Senate, it would I would imagine no self-identified trannies would live in the state of Tennessee anymore.
Ooh. Maybe, so you pass it, it's going to get struck down in the courts eventually, but it kind of like ethnic cleansing, but for trans people? So
it's like ethnic self-selection, basically. Or
yeah. It's
what would you call that?
Ethnic cleansing. It's like
ethic cleansing.
Ethic cleansing, mental illness cleansing. It's interesting philosophical positions being put forth here, okay, by Tennessee. So I'm sorry, Tennessee, I was not familiar with your game.
How many TRX Arms employees are going to be leaving the state? That's my question.
Only one. Sorry, Jimmy. Now, how about speaking of trans ideology, just Jake, could you do me a favor? Could you read that out for me?
No, I don't think I want
so
to.
Here's this individual who happens to be Jewish, claiming, or she is it. I don't know what this thing is. It is literally actually children can orgasm. Literal infants can orgasm, and then she posts the link to her source. Excuse me? Are we Weimar maxing in the year of our Lord 2026? We're Weimar maxing?
I think this is worse, actually.
No, it's literally the same thing. There were, there were some books that were written on children's sexuality that were burned appropriately.
Too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a good thing they burned those books.
Yeah. Anyways, and then she follows it up. Listen, guys, Jews are mostly pro-trans. I should know because I'm Jewish. We're very progressive on social issues generally. It's like people don't want me to be anti-Semitic, but I just have values and morals that lead me to believe that this sort of behavior is disgusting and wrong. And if a Jew is claiming that most Jews have these societal beliefs, then I suppose that I find most of them repugnant. I'm just, if these are you're a Jew, you're saying that these, listen, most of us believe this. I think that's problematic, all right? I think that's problematic.
Pure fucking evil.
Yeah. Anytime we're discussing, well, actually, children can have sex. I mean, let's biologically speaking here.
I wish this was one of those, Twitter bots that people keep talking about, but I don't think it is. I don't think an AI could come up with something so evil.
Do we have the location turned on for that one? Is it Jerusalem? Tel Aviv.
Posting from Jerusalem. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, well, how about, enough cool it with the anti-Semitism. Would you, chat? Okay, cool it with the anti-Semitism. All right, now we're talking about black people. A woman angered to find out she can't buy junk food with your tax dollars anymore due to Florida's new law. Now, this is like quintessential Floydism. I don't know what else to call this, okay? But this is your tax dollars at work. So I did say, the American healthcare welfare system is literally a taxation on whites and East Asians for the betterment of browns. Whites and East Asians are the only groups that are a net positive on the tax code. Sorry, you're feedbacking a little bit, Jake. Whites and East Asians are the only groups that are net positive on the tax code. And we fund everybody else who is a net negative. And that is every black person alive is minus $7,000 per year on the tax system. And then it's, different grades in between. I think Mexicans and Hispanics are like minus $1,500, so on and so forth. But again, the only two groups in America that are a net positive on the tax code are whites and East Asians. And so we support their breeding programs like welfare, EBT, baby mamas. We literally fund this breeding program for browns. Well, we can't afford houses. We can't have our own children. Our women are demoralized and put in positions where they shouldn't have children. They should go and spend their best, most fertile years in the workforce, right? So that they can be positive on the tax code and then subsidize browns. That's literally how that works. And so here's the fruits of this. And if you say, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't just have infinite of you. Maybe that's actually not good for anyone in the long run. Then they chimp out is a word that's been used for it, a phrase that's been used for them every now and again.
So I'm at Walmart. I'm finna show y'all that the EBT ban has started in Florida. I got a soda and Reese's. Let's see this. See? Look. The Coke took off, but it's just the Reese's.
How does this image make you feel, Jake?
I'm gonna wager to say she doesn't need to be eating Reese's or drinking Coke.
I'm gonna wager to say that if she keeps this up, she's gonna lose that foot.
Oh, is that the joke? Is it the foot thing?
Hey, Sarita Morales, F far left Democrats liar. Are you calling us liars or the far left Democrats liars? I'm curious, Sarita Morales, if you're still in chat.
It seems like an anti-democrat position.
I think so. But I don't know if that last word was for them liars or for us lying about some position. I was just curious. Okay. But do those feet scream feminine beauty to you or do anything for you specifically, Jake? I'm curious.
Those feet look like they should be walking around in my cotton field. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No.
You're an employer,
no.
okay? You're looking to support the black queens out there with a job.
As an employer, hypothetically speaking, no, I don't think I would even hire her, actually. Not because of anything,
I just want to know who's
racially, but just because she's probably a really bad worker for reasons. But no, I have no opinion on the feet other than this freeze frame disgusts me, John. It really does.
So you do find them disgusting then? I mean, you have no opinion, but disgusting. What is it, Jake, with these liberal lies? You say one thing and then immediately contradict it. Unbelievable.
That's what Serenita Morales was saying. I'm the liar.
The PDF big diabetic feet. Dude, listen, Luke, it's chill here, okay? You come to the Focus Trip stream 3 hours in and you don't expect to see Black Queen feet on stream? Really? It's very problematic there, all right? Where is it? Here it is. Here's the one.
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
I bet Candace's feet look a lot nicer, Jake. Do you think that's a valid statement? Do you think that's a logical statement?
I have no idea what Candace Owens' feet look like.
But do you think
only assume?
But do you assume that they would look better than what we're looking at here?
Based on just the fact that she is not morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm. And she's more attractive, right? According to you.
I didn't say that. But
she
yes.
is. Okay.
So
because she's so attractive to you.
Objectively speaking, Candace Owens is more attractive than this woman in the video.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean that I am attracted to her.
Her feet would also be more attractive.
Don't twist my words.
No. But her feet would be, by definition, Candace's feet would be more attractive, though.
I am not attracted to feet.
Well, but they would be more attractive, though, right? If you had to choose.
They might be less gross, but they're still feet, and I'm not attractive. I'm not attracted to them.
Feet, right? But they would be better looking, higher quality feet. Would you say? Would you say Candace has higher quality feet?
I don't know what that means.
In the foot market, all right, in the foot marketplace of ideas.
You know what that means.
Meaning that Candace Owens' feet are likely not going to be amputated in the near future. Sure, because this woman,
she's not going to lose it to the Sugarfoot.
This woman has Sugarfoot in her future. Those feet are not long for this world, in my opinion. And I will be paying for that operation to have her feet removed.
That's true. Yes, brought to you by the Focus Trip community. You're welcome, ladies. Yeah.
What'd you say, Richard?
Of course, it's a crumpled up 10, and the machine's like, nah, your money stank.
That's crazy. So I'm at Walmart.
Now imagine this woman being upset that you ain't buying her Reese's no more. She is still getting her soda, but no more Reese's for this lady. She had to pay $4.90.
What is that hair? What is that angle? It's wild. Absolutely. Stuff of nightmares, man.
Well, hey, you think that's bad, bro? I've got an image for you. All right, Jake. I'm just gonna put it up on screen, and you have to tell me, man or woman.
Michelle Obama.
So when it comes to black people, this is not me being racist. This is just an objective fact. I will be racist later. When it comes to black people, sometimes it's hard to tell because the women look very masculine at times. I think this is actually a woman.
You
The
think this
face
is a
is
woman
extreme-
with just higher? It's a very masculine face and chin.
Yes.
That's why I'm
I
like,
I believe that.
and
Yeah.
then the red blush
betting.
and the leather. I'm like, is this just a?
I'm thinking that is probably a woman, and that just speaks to well, I don't know what that says about them, you know.
Anyways, the New York Police Department, can you believe the racism on display? They arrested a black person every 4 minutes in 2025. That is so racist.
Gonna have to bump the numbers up.
What's funny is that it wasn't enough. It actually wasn't fast enough. This is like a World War II cooking calculation, okay? If I arrest a black person every 4 minutes, how much crime do I have left? If you still have crime while getting arrested every 4 minutes for an entire year, I feel like it's just too much crime, okay? Even for a city as big as New York, if you're having to arrest a black person every minute of every day to actually reduce crime to a meaningful level, like there's just something wrong here, okay? Maybe we need to figure out a different way to reduce crime.
Well, they did. They figured out a different way to
It
reduce
was
crime.
just the same 15 people. True, dude. Ah. Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. If crime is still horrible and somebody is getting arrested every 4 minutes, every hour, every day, every week, every month for an entire year, and crime is still bad, then 4 minutes is not enough. We got to go to every 2 minutes, okay? An arrest needs to be made on a black person every 2 minutes in New York City to meaningfully reduce crime. Alternatively, of course, you could actually just keep them in jail for the crimes they commit. I think that would also help to alleviate some of the stressors here. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly is terrible, the amount of prejudice against the black community for simple things like committing crimes nonstop.
I just read that headline as it only takes them 4 minutes to process somebody through the criminal justice system and release them back out onto the streets.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. So I ran the numbers on reparations. This is always my favorite meme. And after subtracting for crime, you actually owe white people $4.7 trillion. Yeah, when you stack up murders and rapes and bicycle thefts, it's not, reparations are not looking so good, okay? That return check you thought you were getting, we're looking a little light these days. All right, last one. We'll end on this because I hate the current UK, but look at the duality of headlines we have coming out of the state of the UK. So, gynecologist who caused a baby to be decapitated during botched birth is cleared to return to work. Can I get a white gynecologist? Can I get like literally anyone else? In fact, I think if you murder a baby during birth, accidental death, manslaughter, whatever you want to call it, I feel like you just never work again. Never. Right? I feel like that's such an egregious mistake that you just never work again. Never ever.
Like, what's the thing with like UPS, right? If you get in a wreck in one of the trucks, if you're driving the truck routes, they fire you, right? You just can't do that. It should be similar, right? Like you should
I think so.
If you accidentally tear a baby's head off during a birth, which shouldn't happen, really shouldn't happen, you should probably just find a new career.
Right, or find an alternative. Maybe plant food would be a great career path for you.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah,
I think plant food in your future could be a really novel use of your biomass.
Now, see, there is like the argument: was it intentional or is it just medical malpractice? Is it medical malpractice?
Well, again, is it retarded? Is it retarded or manslaughter? Like, take your pick. I don't really care. What does it matter to the grieving family after at the moment of triumph, you through your sheer incompetence murder a child, or again manslaughter, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
The mother obviously had to be there.
Yeah. Imagine. I don't even want to get into the triumph into horror that had to have been.
Yeah. If that would have been my wife, I would have been going to jail for murdering a doctor.
Self-defense. You tried to save the child. Anyways, but if you're you will lose your license though if you say gender is given at birth, because that's problematic. Murder a child at birth, you can come back to work. You're cleared to return back to work after you've had your little siesta, your little layaway, your little sabbatical. However, you will lose your medical license for saying that there is a gender given at birth based on biology that's been accepted throughout all of human history.
Yeah. That's pretty weird. I would say, guys, if you're planning on finding a doctor, you're expecting a child, make sure to look at their Yelp reviews, maybe Google reviews. Make sure that they're not make sure they're not Indian. And two, make sure they haven't decapitated any babies. That's probably a good place to start.
I agree, Jay. And honestly, you should look into it, and you should kind of shop around. So like,
yeah,
we've had one baby here in South Dakota. We had one with a midwife and one in a hospital back in Washington. But like, you can actually like select the people that you work with, and it's like fantastic. And you can get to know them, and you can have doctor's visits, and you can kind of like figure out who is going to be cool and who is going to be not. Now, fortunately, again, I live in South Dakota, where it is blissfully free of a lot of these issues that more ethnically diverse areas seem to be plagued with. But again, it is something that you need to be cognizant of, and you need to be able to kind of set yourself up for the most success possible, right? All right. Now, that's
What
rounding out the show. What is
that?
this?
I just looked at the screen. What is that?
What?
That's
I thought I put it up there for you to react to when you were really quiet, and I was like, all right.
I was reading
poker face right now.
I was reading the YouTube chat. I didn't see that. That's terrifying. Who made that? I wanna find that person.
You did.
It's Crackalactica.
I want to find Crackalactica and talk to him.
Oh my gosh, dude. I can't show this image, but that is mega zazed. Damn.
Are there worse images or are they better?
I would say better. Dude, that might get me in trouble. I don't know if I can act.
I mean, we're 3 hours in. Make it small. Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Zazed, but anyways, Midwest Gunchud for 10. Damn it. Bova D's nuts.
Dude, that was bad, bro. I'm just saying, like,
I know the joke is there. I know it's funny.
Sometimes you can recognize that there could be a joke there, but like not right now. It's not appropriate.
Not in this moment. Not appropriate. Wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Read the room, etc., etc. Yeah, I know the joke was there, and I was trying to be a good boy and not say it. Okay. Zanyco for 2 says, Richard, turn your camera on so we know you're okay. Zany just wants to peek at that mug. Like a root beer. A Moonman for 5 says, I can guarantee a way to get away with it. To get away from it, by getting away with it. Yes. It's the cycle of meeting a person, wrong politics, compost, not enough evidence to make it to stick. I need to meet a new person, right? Cycle of events. Thank you, Moonman. Moonman for another 5 says, aggressive in your rhetoric, and yet you've made no actionable threats yet. Curious. See, that's like you're trying to bait me into Fed posting, okay? It's Fed bait. Like it's like Gooner bait, but for online chuds, okay? It's Fed bait. Thank you, Moonman.
The actionable threats, then it's premeditated.
Amrai Boy for 5 says, in most states, if the cops show up on a domestic violence call, someone is going to jail. Doesn't matter if charges get filed, someone is going to jail. See, but that just doesn't seem morally square to me. like at all. How can we just send someone to jail even if literally nothing has happened or nothing is provable in any way, shape, or form? It's the same thing as if, like, I don't know, I said, hey, I don't like Jake. He like insulted my toes. Can you throw him in jail? And the guy was like, well, I guess I can. Like, of course he wouldn't do that. Like, if I just said Jake robbed a liquor store, he has alcohol, officer. He robbed a liquor store. He couldn't just throw him in jail because I said so. Like, in what world is that kosher? Why does domestic violence, dude, that image right there makes it look like you just robbed a liquor store and you're so proud of it. You're so proud that you robbed a liquor store and came away with 2 bottles. The heist of the century up here, Jake.
We might have a problem. We might have to have an intervention for Snuka. Got it. He's down bad.
Sarita, can we get dinner sometime? Pay the Snuka might be bad. He wants a racist abuelo, okay? And I get it, all right, you know.
I respect the hustle, Snuka. Maybe just not in the YouTube chat. Have some self-respect, Snuka. Come on.
Yeah, dog. Shoot, where is Moonman has a great idea, but I need to find it first. Give me one moment. Where did I put it? Here it is. All right, excellent. Moonman for 2 says, can we get some big toe money to cover our bail? I will, right at the end, sir. Don't you worry. Moonman for 5 says she talks like she is from a YN type neighborhood. Sounds like they should move away from wherever this is or simply pull an Uno reverse on the cops. The couple does seem very modern, let's say, and she has a modern vernacular and she kind of dresses like a hooer. So they're not like a trad couple. They just point out evil people. So I wouldn't necessarily, take morality advice from them. Moonman for 5 says, thank you, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla. Peace be upon him. Now we know what we already knew about an Indian. Yeah. That's funny because Kash Patel is literally a Fed. He's the head Fed, you could say. And he's also Fed baiting and Gooner baiting at the same time. One hand is Fed baiting and the other hand is Gooner baiting. Thank you, Moonman. Appreciate you. Polly B for 2 says, Queens all have STDs. Well, dude, when we talked last week about the black people debating the morality of rape, and they were like, yeah, there are negative consequences of rape. We could get STDs. True.
Yeah.
Moonman for 5 says, look, all I'm saying is I wish it was real, but where the painter failed, we will succeed.
In art
school? Yeah, I guess Moonman just got accepted to art school, bro. I'm not going to art school. I'm not making it, dude. Zanico for 2 says, is that Richard? Might be. You never know. Midwest Gun Chud says, would not. No, thank you. I agree. Cody Fisher for 5 says, not sure if ape activities are more entertaining or failures of a certain defensive cistern with a similar name of dome made of iron. Interesting, yes. Iron Dome failings or the African Safari? Which one is more entertaining? Well, see, the African Safari is problematic because it can be local and like actually mess with a lot of people in the USA, right? And actually negatively affect people, ends lives. So the African Safari is not always entertaining. Sometimes it is legitimately dangerous. However, the Iron Dome, there's no Americans in Israel, no real Americans in Israel. So, I mean, like.
Yeah, that literally does not affect my life at all. You got to do the GIF of the weekend, where he's looking up at all the lights.
Yeah, that's right.
It's literally me.
Over on Rumble, Jarrett says, I'm a regular Redoubt listener, but only in the last 2 months. What has made you move towards Orthodoxy over Roman Catholicism? Is there a reason other than recognize the papacy? Well, so the reason why I would always choose Orthodoxy over Catholicism is a captured institution. The papacy in and of itself is simply not present within the first millennia. They altered the Nicene Creed. The Rothschild-funded bank that started in the 1800s, the Vatican Bank is a literal Rothschild institution that it literally makes money for these people. The Vatican, after St. Gregory the Great denounced the Talmud, they burned it, and the Quran and a bunch of other documents. the Catholic Church was the first institution to print the Talmud. All 37 volumes in one place was the Catholic Church responsible for printing the Talmud, which seems, again, according to Gregory the Great in the 11th century, that would be like heretical. That would be bounds for excommunication. And then 500 years later, you have a pope signing off on it. So to me, it just seems like it is a accretion. It is not the way that the early church worked. It is anti-apostolic in that way. It has fallen away from its original mission, whereas the Eastern Orthodox Church has maintained the creeds, the original creeds, the unchanged creeds, right? And they operate in a similar way to the first millennium. So the Orthodox Church, in my opinion, is the one that actually follows the first millennium. If you care about apostolic succession or keeping a lineage and the rites and all this, and even the canon of Scripture comes from the church precedes the canon of Scripture, that's orthodoxy and not Catholicism. And I see Protestantism as a offshoot of Catholicism. So I think that in the long run, I think both are going to be invalid. Because I don't think Catholicism was valid. I know that's probably complicated and controversial. And again, I am technically a Protestant. So I say that as somebody who is notices the issues in Protestantism at its core and in the modern, I think it's on shaky foundations at best, right? Because, like, listen, if I have problems with the Catholic Church and the Protestants came out of the Catholic Church, right? It's like, I think even before the Protestants, I think there was issues in the Catholic Church. There was the whole foundation on the Western side of Christianity is on shaky ground, in my opinion. Actually, I forgot to mention earlier, I got a new book in. This is the Letters of Saint Ignatius, who is a 2nd century saint, who was brought to Rome to be killed in the Colosseum. And this is some of his letters. And then it has some 4th century letters by somebody taking the moniker of Ignatius as well. So that's a new early church father apostolic book that I'm going to be reading soon. Absolute Moonman for 10 says, play us out with big toe money, but keep Jake on stream so we can see him be uncomfortable. Don't you worry. I'm going to unveil a new song at the end of stream just for you. Thank you, Moonman. Appreciate that. Chips Dubbo for 20 says, gentlemen, good evening. Sorry I'm late. I'll have to catch the entirety later. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you hanging out with us. And I hope you're having a good night, Chips Dubbo.
Hey, Patrick, do you think Squidward was trying to tell us something?
I love that one. Thank you, Chips Dubbo. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you for the 20. Jim Eagle 42 says, Happy Safari is the best Rhodesian song. Lots of classic marching songs out there, you know. Some from the middle of the century that were quite catchy as well, that I appreciate. Thank you, Jim Eagle, for the 2. Hope you're having a good night. Now, the new, let me see where it is. Here it is. Oh, we can do it. All right. I apologize, Jake, but you're going to have to listen to this with us, okay, for the first time. This is your live reaction to the unveiling of the new Big Toe Money, okay? Here we go.
I can't even hear it, so it's perfect.
You can't even hear it? No way.
I can't hear it.
No way you can't hear it. What are you talking about? What the heck? Where did it go?
I literally can't hear it. This is perfect.
Ah, fine. We'll try it again.
Nobody can hear it. Oh, damn it.
Jake money, big toe money. This the song of the summer. Shit, you know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Jake money, big toe money. This the song of the summer. Shit, you know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. My feet feel good, your feet where they should. Y'all just sitting in the grass with a cigarette. Jake money, big toe money. That's a bigger check. Walking in, everybody stop and look. Running this game, boy, I'm off the hook. I'm the first motherfucker to have 2 feet. Watch my fucking back when I'm moving through the streets. Looking in my wallet, man, it's green like a gecko. Rip up front shoes and my big toe say hello. Running this game and my feet getting bigger. Every step I take, my balance getting bigger. Jake money, big toe money. This the song of the summer. Shit, you know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, boy, I'm too gone. Strolling down the sidewalk with no shoes. Wiggling my toes like what you go use. No joke, man, my toes make money. Open up the vault, big toe full of hundreds. Toe got a house, I ain't even got a house. Toe got a spouse, I ain't even got a spouse. 100K in the bank just from my toe. Hey, I could make a living off of feet alone. Jake money, big toe money. This the song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, but I'm too gone. Jake money, big toe money. This the song of the summer shit. You know it's funny. Walk on stage with no shoes on. All I need is feet, but I'm too gone.
Bro,
that was that song was brutal. Okay,
me, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. Some of those bars got a little deep. Okay, wow.
Dude, that was
Who
actually
made that?
insane. Around the Fire, Aaron made
He
that.
made it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make sure to kill him later.
Dude, I haven't heard it before. So that was what he said. No spouse. Woo.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was rough.
Thank you, Mr. Around the Fire. I really appreciate it. I'll be coming to visit you soon.
Yeah. Top 20 stream moment of all time, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Chip Stubbo for 2 says that was hilarious. Well, thank you, Chip Stubbo. I appreciate that.
I'm glad
you're bringing the
somebody
hilarity.
found some joy.
Because I didn't. Understand for once for 20 says how reliable, durable are Taurus TX22Cs with FRTs. Are we like trying to do as a end of the world weapon at Taurus TX22 with an FRT? Like, no.
There's no practical purpose of a
It's
FRT Taurus. Okay, it is fun. It's cool. It's fun. It will drastically shorten the life of your striker assembly. From what I understand, it's like plastic components, and the reset thing will mess it up very quickly. I don't know how many. It's like a couple thousand rounds it'll break or less.
The people who made the TX22 FRT was, I believe, it was Fast Finger Triggers, are the guys who originally made it. They filed a cease and desist and sent it to the people who are the owners of Performance Triggers, because they're selling a knockoff and using the imagery from Fast Finger, but not including like any of the packaging or anything. It's just a piece of tool steel that they're stamping out. And the people from Fast Finger Triggers told me that the ones from Performance Triggers are causing strikers to break prematurely.
I think they all are. I mean, I've heard about it. I've heard about them breaking strikers ever since they first came out. So I think I that might be a little bit of cope from Fast Finger. I don't have any. I'm not throwing any shade on them, but the TX22 is a fantastic 22 pistol. I think everyone should get one. They're cheap and they're really nice. They're nice, but
well, is the FRT only, or can I have an FRT in it?
It's
that's not
FRT
FRT
only.
Oh, so that's lame.
You have you have
supposed to
a
be coming out with a
constant.
limiter.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they do have
TX22
a rate
awesome.
reducer.
TX22 with an FRT, fun but not practical at all. I would just get
Well,
a regular
it's-
TX22 and have fun.
You shoot a couple mags to it, and you're like, now what? It's like,
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jake. I'm saving my money for big toe money. Base sheep herder.
This is getting out of hand, guys. All right.
It's never gonna stop. Understand for once. Oh, thank you for that. Zanico for 2 says big toe money. Tomatoes was art. That was art. Get out, Zanico. That's why you're not on the panel and Jake is, because Jake recognizes art. Says Jake Smith. Cody Fisher for 10 says impressive work, gentlemen. See, that's what I'm talking about. Real recognizes real. Okay. Just saying. Cody gets it. All right. Well, Jake, before we get out of here, what would you like to shout out? All right.
I would shout out Christ, top guy, number 1. He is king.
Top G.
Other than that, thanks for having me on.
You don't sound so sure. You're like, thanks, I guess.
No, it was a good time. I'm not sure Andrew, the song was good. I don't like the lyrics, obviously, but it was a good song. Thank you. But yeah. Other than that, Christ is King.
Based. Richard, what would you like to shout out while we're here?
I'm probably going to stream on Wednesday, so if you guys are around, you want to come hang out before the stream here, I'll stream over on my channel.
Okay, I just dropped the link for Richard's Headspace, Richard Cranium, in the YouTube and the Rumble live chat. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen, if you would be so kind. But with all that out of the way, gentlemen, I do want to thank you for hanging out with us, for spending the time, energy, and in some of your cases, wild cases, actual money on this show, supporting us financially so that I can jobless max while you're wage maxing, which is kind of crazy, and I do appreciate it very much. So thank you very much for the time, the support, the comments. The chat is VIP, MVP, as always. But, it is April Fool's, or April 1st, I should say, coming up. So maybe there's a video in the works. You never know. Look forward to that. Maybe on Wednesday. I don't know. I don't get the dates. I don't have the dates memorized. But at some point in the future, there's going to be a new video this week that I've been working on. Got to finish up the script and get it pushed out on time. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I hope you do well. I hope you guys are having a good week out there. We will see you later on. Christ is King. God bless. Godspeed.
I am the geek, piping sandy cheeks, patty on the slab at the Krusty Krab flip, so the